All right, and we look to be live. Welcome to We Love the Prequels with Jess and Nick. The very first edition of this new Star Wars program coming to WDWNT Live. Is it the first and only? I don't know. Yeah. Sorry we're on a little bit late. Part of the reason we were doing this is because, this was supposed to be the Run Disney Star Wars weekend. Star Wars Run weekend at Walt Disney World. Supposed to be a 5K, 10K, half marathon today. I was all signed up. Of course, that got canceled. And but I took it upon myself to go ahead and do the run around my neighborhood. So yesterday I did the 10K. And today I did a half marathon around Mount Dora, Florida.
With action figures.
With pictures. So let me show you. We did have some entertainment out there on the course. So I have all the photos. So let me show. Ray was out there. So she was offering some encouragement. So we got a photo with her.
Is that like someone who dressed up, or is that like oh my god?
Yeah, no, someone dressed up.
It makes it.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. Wicket the Ewok was there, one of my favorite photo ops. So got that one as well.
It's rare. It's a rare one.
I know. And guess what? They gave out the good water from Batu. So
it's the water that they give out when Rise of the Resistance breaks down.
Yes. Some rare photo ops and new ones. The Mandalorian. Everybody was surprised to see him out there. And even Hondo made an appearance. Good stuff. Yeah.
That's illegal.
And then I got my medal, and Darth Maul was waiting at the finish line after the 10K. So that was happiness. And then today they had some really cool photo ops. They had the creatures of Batu. So we got a Loth cat.
I've always wanted to meet a Loth cat. Got
a puffer pig. And even one of these guys, a little toad. Yes. So that was fun. And then look, the 501st was out there. Look at that handsome devil. That's a good-looking stormtrooper right there, if I do say so myself. Yes. They even had that cool photo op with the Wampa, where like the Wampa is upside down, and you get the picture with the Wampa. Then you flip the picture up, and it looks like you're hanging from the top of the cave. So I can't believe they actually had that one out there this weekend as well. That was fantastic. Darth Vader, of course. And then they give out even more special the blue milk. Blue milk is really, really hydrating. So
it's like a protein shake after the run.
Exactly. So that was good. They had droids out there. It's so weird. They had the same Build-A-Droid that I made in Batu. They had him there as well. So that was crazy. And then of course, the pictures with my finisher medal. Fantastic.
This is incredible.
Just a fantastic weekend. I couldn't ask for anything more. They did a great job setting up my stay-at-home Run Disney race. So had a fantastic time there.
That's excellent. I'm glad it all worked out.
But it was a little more trying than I thought. Like, because you don't realize that all right, you finish the run and you have all that downtime after the run. Because you're walking to get your medal, and you're walking through all the finisher area, and you're walking to your car. You have all this downtime, and you get some snacks and some food. So I didn't time this right. I made pretty good time, but I stopped running at 10:30. We're supposed to come on at 11, and I thought, okay, yeah, I could get ready in a half an hour. No, it takes a while to wind down from that run.
Cool down, yeah.
You do. I mean, sweat. I had to change my clothes. I had to wash up. I had to get I realized I wasn't going to eat for a few hours, so I had to make a little protein drink. I needed to get something in me. So, yeah, that's.
Were there other people running? Did you spy any other marathoners?
No. There were plenty of people walking their dog with their kids.
Just me.
Stuff like that. I think because I do a 3 mile loop, so I basically did that 4 times plus a little extra to get that extra mile. And I could tell, like, people were like, "What, you're passing me again?" Because there were like people out in their yard, you know, doing yard work and stuff. And they're like, "This is the 3rd time you're running by me. What the hell are you doing, kid?" Anyway, but so that was good. That was good. So anyway, I made the most of this weekend, but that's why we're here. That's why I decided to ask Jess if she wanted to do the show, because we had fun doing kind of like a we kind of got together kind of almost impromptu and did a rewatch of the oh my gosh, why is that escaping me now?
Oh my god, me too. The arc.
Yeah, I know. Gosh. The one where oh my goodness. All right, why am I drawing a blank? Anyway, the Clone Wars arc where Anakin and goes to fight the son and the daughter of the Force. Why is that? Everybody's yelling at me. Mortimus.
The Mortis arc.
Mortis trilogy. Thank you. Wow. All right. Running this weekend took a lot out of me.
It's okay,
so anyway, we did that. And we decided to, and we had a good time. And so we decided to get together and do this. And then we're like, what are we going to do for this Star Wars show? I was like, I want to do another Star Wars show. And then we're just like, Tom was like, call it We Love the Prequels. And we were both like, sure, why not? So we're kind of dedicating this to a little bit to the prequels. So you said there was some controversy in the chat already coming in. Do you want to enlighten me on what people are yelling about before we even started the show?
I dropped in on that pretty late. Thankfully, this is why we focus on the prequels. None of it has anything to do with the prequels. Everyone's just still mad about like this final trilogy, which is fine. There are many strong opinions about this trilogy. I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of why I like this shift towards the prequels. I'm not saying that things equally don't make sense sometimes in like terms of canon or veering off, but for the most part, the prequels just help elucidate the rest of the trilogy instead of like, and generally, like besides maybe Jar Jar, it doesn't cause all that much controversy as I've seen with these like final trilogy. And then I'm also, I mentioned this to you, like there's a general besides like that last trilogy, there's a general shift towards the prequels, both in like Galaxy's Edge and like all this new programming on Disney Plus. So I'm happy to see it. I love to see it, as the kids say these days.
Well, there's definitely a generation of people now that are consuming Star Wars in a way that with their wallets, as far as like buying merchandise, buying, watching, consuming media that grew up with the original trilogy. So, of course they're gonna try to cater to that, because there's a group of people who cherish those movies, who grew up in that time, and
that was my childhood. That was everything.
So I mean, I'll take you through like what happened with the prequels and me. So I was in college when the prequels came out.
Wait, and Nick, I'm going to stop you for like half a second.
Yes.
Because you have a donation. We have $1.59 for Nick's first place finish from Eric Morden.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Nice.
Okay, continue.
So I was in college when the prequels came out, and so I grew up really. Return of the Jedi was the first Star Wars film that I saw. Then went back and saw the other ones, so it was kind of weird. But I mean, I fell in love with that era. Like that's why Return of the Jedi is like one of my favorite Star Wars films, and so that's where I grew up. And then so like right when my fandom started, we reached that like dead area of Star Wars where there was like nothing. Yeah. If you wanted to read some EU novels and stuff, but I never got into that stuff. Some comics maybe. So it was really a dead era, and I had my toys and everything, but I was still, I was a huge Star Wars fan, watched all the films a couple times every year. And but then, so then when the prequels came along, I was, starved for Star Wars stuff. And because I didn't consume a lot of the EU stuff, I didn't have some of the preconceived notions a lot of other Star Wars fans, the original trilogy type fans, grew up with. So I never had the hang-ups going into the prequels that some people did. And I adored the prequels when they came out. I saw no problem with them. I mean, I saw some of the problems with the filmmaking, but as far as
the casting.
Yeah, there were definite problems. I've never said they're good films, but there's great stories and there's great characters in there. And I really, really enjoyed all three movies. Then what happened was I realized with the internet and talking to people and things like that there were people that really, really hated the prequels. And I didn't really realize this at first. And so then I was like kind of shamed into going, oh yeah, I don't like them either. They're bad, And I was like, maybe I'm going to second guess. Yeah. So I'm going to second guess everything I thought. And then people got me thinking about midichlorians and all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's bad. And then I was like, wait, why should I do that just because the masses are saying that to me? I'm going to go back and watch them again. And I watched them again. And then the Clone Wars was out. And there was so many stories where they really fleshed out those characters and those stories that I loved them again. And now I unashamedly love the prequels. I really do.
We love prequels.
I do, and I'm going to say this right now: Attack of the Clones is my favorite one, and Attack of the Clones is one of my favorite Star Wars films. So that's my story. What about you?
Revenge of the Sith is my favorite, hands down.
Yeah.
You're right. There was this kind of movement, and still to this day, some of the first Star Wars memes were memes came up right around the time of the prequel, that early 2000s. So right now you just have a plethora of memes dedicated to the prequels and how maybe cheesy they were at times, or just all those little phrases that came up and eventually became pop culture references. But yeah, I'm probably everyone's worst nightmare of a Star Wars fan, because growing up, it doesn't Star Wars has a huge presence in Latin America, but when you veer off a little bit, it's still kind of cultish. It's a very small fandom, especially in Cuba. There's not a big Star Wars thing. So my parents usually you get brought into the Star Wars by your parents. Your father or your mom will sit you down and be like, all right, it's time to watch Star Wars. Here we go. And I never had that. So for me, it was always oh, Star Wars is on AMC. Let me check this out. But I've always been into sci-fi and all that, all those genres. And one of my uncles was really into Star Wars. And whenever we went on family vacations, it was usually to the beach. This is a funny. And he would go fishing in the mornings, so in the afternoons, he'd be super tired, and he'd just put on Star Wars. And I'm a huge nerd. I never wanted to go to the beach because I hate sand. It's everywhere. And I would sit there, and we'd both just binge watch all the older movies. And I'm like, wow, I really like this. But again, there wasn't really much of a ground for me growing up, to be oh, I like Disney and I like Star Wars, because it was just oh, you're a nerd. Why don't you I don't know, whatever else kids were into at my age. But yes, prequels started when Phantom Menace came out. I started the movies. I was 8 years old. But again, one of the first movies that I vividly remember seeing in the movies, and all the merch that came out. There were toys at Taco Bell and stuff. So those are things I remember, and those are things I I hold very dear to my heart.
Yeah.
I even had there was all the weird merch that came out during that time. Of course, Star Wars has always been synonymous with merch. But one of my most vivid memories is back in the 90s, the inflatable furniture.
Oh yeah.
Princess Amidala inflatable chair, and that was my life. And I would just sit there and watch, and I was like, this is the coolest thing.
You still
like,
have that
in
somewhere?
like 2 weeks.
Oh,
I
gross.
don't. It like kept getting broken. We just kept patching it up, and it was like Queen Amidala, and she's just like all patched up. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love the prequels. To this day, like whenever I need like a comfort Star Wars movie, I will probably pull up one of the prequels. Um, and again, I loved finally like growing up. Like the initial trilogy was kind of like you. I would watch them, but I still had so many questions. Like, how did Darth Vader come to be? How did all these characters come to be? And then all of a sudden, here's this series, like this trilogy, that answers most, if not all, of those questions for me. So for me, it was like, this is great. This is what I've been like wanting all my life. Yeah. So love the prequels.
Now, I've been
Again,
wondering because I know you're a huge Rey fan, right?
yeah, I'm like I said, I'm like the worst because I'm like, there's a lot of gatekeeping with Star Wars. So again, anyone who
Yeah.
didn't get involved early on in their life and inherit all this stuff, I was actually like a pretty late bloomer to Star Wars. I think in like retrospect, like I like the prequels, but again, then there wasn't much going on. Maybe like a little bit of Rebels, a little bit of Clone Wars, um, and then came the new trilogy. And yeah, I got really into it.
Yeah.
My brother got really into it, and then I kind of follow along with whatever he's into just because we talk and like just having that commonality. And then I just got really into it too. He started cosplaying, doing like the Bible first, and I'm like, that kind of seems cool. I haven't joined like any cosplay groups yet, but it's always like on the back burner. It's just a really cool community.
Yeah. Yeah. I should have screenshot those pictures you gave me of your Rey cosplay. Show everybody.
They're probably in the chat. Do you like in the messenger? If you have that on your like desktop, you could probably pull those up. I don't know how to like pull up images on vMix.
Yeah, it's involved because I'm remoting into the computer, so I'd have to like go through a couple steps. Yeah, so like, can you like, do you have? Can you compare the sequel trilogy to the prequel trilogy? Like, can you like one more than the other, or do you just like them both? Because you know, like you have that. For me, I really enjoy the sequel trilogy. I know people have a lot of issues with it, but I really like it. I actually on my run today, I almost finished the what is it, Rise of Skywalker novel, the audiobook. I've been listening to that, and it really clarifies a lot of things. Clarifies a lot of what's going through people's minds when they make certain decisions. And you know, a lot of people will say, "Well, why didn't the filmmaker put that in the film? It would have made things a little bit clearer." But you know, sometimes you can't put those thoughts into a film the way you can easily put them into a book, especially you know when you're trying to keep the pacing of a film too. But you know, I'd recommend people check out the book. But I really love I really love the sequel trilogy. I would actually say, as a trilogy, I would put the prequels as my least favorite overall trilogy.
Right.
Even though
all three of them work together.
Just in the enjoyability of the three films together, because I would say original, then sequel, then prequel. But even that said, you know, like I said, Attack of the Clones is one of my probably one of my top three Star Wars movies, to be honest with you. I love everything in that movie. I think that's such an epic movie, but it's like one of the most hated ones, and I get a lot of flack for that. But yeah,
I would think that episode 1 is the most hated one, but maybe not.
and a lot of people think, yeah. What's up?
No, go ahead.
Well, a lot of people think Attack of the Clones. A lot of people hate it for a lot of the. It probably has the worst acting. It's probably the worst film of the three. If you're talking acting and dialogue and things like that. I mean, I feel bad. Like, I don't know what the heck happened to poor Natalie Portman. I mean,
Right.
like, her character is so awesome and at times they give her the cheesiest dialogue, and she does her best with it, and I guess she's a better actor now than she necessarily was at that age doing that film, but
Yeah.
you know, it was just bad directing too. You know, and George Lucas is notorious for being a horrible director to the actors. He knows what he wants, but he's a bad actors director, which is a shame because she's so good. And her character's amazing in everything else. Like, I don't know if you've read any of the books, any of the comics, like all the side stories, and that's what really gets me. I do want to point out, like, I like the Clone Wars Anakin Skywalker, the animated Anakin Skywalker. Like, that's my Anakin Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, that's such a better Anakin Skywalker than in the films.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, speaking of Clone Wars, I'm thinking let's segue into Clone Wars because this also came about because I don't really have anyone to talk to about the prequels, and I mean about Clone Wars. Not everyone's watching it in my like immediate circle. Like, I'll go around like people from the site, like, hey, have you seen, like, and the only one who's seen it is Nick.
Oh,
so
well, let's throw this out there. Spoiler alert, because we're going to be talking about the latest episode, I guess it would be 9, of Clone Wars, season 7.
It's crazy that we're at 9 already.
I know, right?
Right,
but,
like, I was looking for the episode, I'm like, 9?
Yeah, so the first episode of the Siege of Mandalore. We will be talking about that, so if you haven't seen it yet and don't want to be spoiled, but we both watched it a couple of times. I think, did you watch it a second time?
I did.
I know you said, I watched it twice. It is so good. So we were going to be talking about some details of that as well. But you want to go back and talk about the first 2 arcs first?
So, I mean, we talked a little bit about this at our other show. I wasn't fully disappointed with the Bad Batch. I thought it was a cool concept, you know, introducing some new, fresh characters into it. I always love any, you know, like, these are clones with genetic mutations and stuff that make them more advanced. And I thought that was, like, a cool twist to them. And just seeing their camaraderie and how they, like suddenly had them thinking, like, in ways that they wouldn't, like, doing kind of some more new tactics and techniques. And I was like, yeah, this is so cool. And even though it was pretty, like, you know, it's kind of a trope, a ragtag team, and it's like one is a tech guy, the other guy's just like brute force, and there's a leader. But it was still kind of fun. I think it was a good introduction. I was still very excited in that first episode. But I think it was also partially me being like really excited for this last season. And then things started like not being as exciting. You know, some of the episodes for the Bad Batch arc, and then now with this last arc, which was with Trace and Rafa. Yeah. Again, like, see, it's like, and I think they're cool characters. Again, this is like another Jana Rose situation, I almost want to say, and that they inject these characters and then they don't fully develop them enough to have the audience really understand them fully, or like I don't know. It was kind of boring, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
I remember messaging you. I'm like, I just saw this episode and I'm so mad. I'm so bored and disappointed. Like,
yeah, they wanted us to spend 4 episodes with these sisters. But here's part of the problem. One, we knew that this was only 4 episodes out of 12 episodes that we were waiting forever to get. And we were kind of waiting for those next 4 episodes, the Siege of Mandalore. We were kind of like, we know what happens here. We know, like, we don't... If you're going to tell us a story of an era that we kind of know-ish what already happens to our characters a little bit, like you have to be very compelling with that story. Like there has to be a real reason to tell that story. That's always the problem with prequels, and technically, I mean, we're going back in time. This isn't a but I mean, we've already.
Oh, your mic is out. We've lost Nick.
Oh, now wait.
We could, okay, it's a little fuzzy. My ears hurt.
Hello. Am I back?
All right. You're good.
Okay, good. Sorry. What I was saying is that this isn't really a prequel, but we are kind of going back in time because we've already seen Ahsoka after this and everything. So you're giving us these two characters who there was nothing to really love about them because we didn't. I don't know. I didn't really care, right? I mean, that's the problem.
I just hated it. It was such an abusive relationship. Clearly,
right.
like, thankfully, the part of the plot is that they work through that and they kind of realize. But like, still, I was like, I don't want. This is making.
But it's not like one of those episodes where Anakin and Ahsoka go to a planet to help save these people that you just met. You start caring about those people because you're like, well, Anakin and Ahsoka, they're being heroes and they're helping out these people on this planet and that need their help. In this situation, I think they're trying to show us a time that I don't know if I need this. I don't know if this 4-episode arc added to my understanding of how Ahsoka went from I'm leaving the Jedi Order to I'm Fulcrum and helping the rebels advance their cause. I don't know if this mattered in that grand scheme of things. I think a little bit of it helped show that Ahsoka that there are people who I guess still need help and need to believe in something and need to believe in a cause greater than their own. Maybe.
Ultimately there was this. Yeah.
Well, just one quick thought, and then I'm sorry. But I definitely think it went one episode longer than it needed to. There was no reason to have that third episode where they escaped and got caught and ended up in prison at the end of the episode, where they started at the beginning of the episode. That added nothing to the story. So we could have. I would have actually rather seen it be a 2 or 3 episode arc, to be honest with you, and I would have been fine with it. I think the problem was extending it out to a 4-episode arc and just being bored most of the time.
It was kind of hyped. Everyone's like, because that was, now we go into the Siege of Mandalore, but that was supposedly the big Ahsoka return. That was like supposedly like her arc. And I was like, this is it. Like, this is just her battling against these like two. But it did like bring light to like certain topics, like you said, people who had been disadvantaged by the Jedi or like abandoned by the Jedi because of the Jedi's emphasis on like politics and like military alliances, which is also what led Ahsoka to kind of like be like, I'm out. So he met other people who kind of like didn't feel like the Jedi represented them or that they even needed the Jedi, or like they had once had hope in the Jedi, and because of like certain like and this is ultimately what also kind of like draws Anakin away from the Jedi, like besides besides him being like warped into this like horrible character, but from the beginning he's just like, why are we adhering to all of these weird outdated protocol and like traditions if they're not working in this constant state of war that like all of our like planets are in. But yeah, so like that was, when they gave their backstory a little bit, I guess that was the point of like the whole prison episode, like them talking about their mom and what happened to their parents, etc. And kind of like giving backstory. They come from like a broken family, so then that's why they're just constantly a mess. And then once that last episode in that arc came about, I was like slightly excited again because we get you get Maul, you get him dropping the Death Watch, etc. And like there were people, but I think we were talking about this in the comments. I love this like coming together of all the prequels now, and I guess if you include Solo and Rogue One as like prequels in the sense that they take place in like before the main thing, like you have, you see a little bit more into like spice runners and stuff in that whole world, with the pikes and stuff. Um,
Hmm.
so I kind of like those little nods. I think that's what keeps me going. I think it's like pretty subtle fan service, but it's what I want to see. It's kind of like really that's what I like, kind of seeing these tiny little bits that are dropped in there for us, and like making all these connections. I think it's worthwhile. But yeah, I was starting to give up on the Clone Wars. I was starting to give up
Ha,
on this last season. And then episode 9 happened. So now I watched it twice. It was so good.
episode 9 of season 7 is definitely a top 10 episode of all time. I mean, easy.
Right?
That
From the
that episode was
get-go.
jaw dropping. From the very beginning, you're right. I mean,
Yeah.
the action, the animation looked gorgeous. Um, the and then you said this to me in a text, that fan service. I mean, this is what fan service is meant to be.
This is like
And it
this is
really
like
is.
chef's kiss. It's not like these, like, I feel like that's sometimes what throws me off and like what turns me off about the sequels, that the fan service
Mhm.
seems at times very forced or very like, hey, remember this guy? With Clone Wars, especially in this episode, everything was so subtle. It's not like they give it like 10 seconds for you to process, like, oh, that's from, they just throw it out there, and if you catch it, you catch it. If not, you have to watch it a second time. But I think it was very subtle and very well done fan service. Like,
Mhm. And they made it extremely emotional because they now know, and I think it had more power because we've seen Ahsoka in Rebels,
yeah,
because we've seen what she's become, and we've connected even on another level with that character now. So when they brought her in, and Anakin, who just adores her, and
yeah,
when he had her lightsabers, and when the troopers painted their helmets. I mean, that is insanely emotional, and it was so good to see. And it's so good that she realizes that no matter what, Anakin still believes in her, and Anakin fought for her to,
yeah,
get her an army to take to Mandalore. And that's really important because he's always been the one. I mean, I went back after that and watched the last few episodes of, what would it be, season 5, where she leaves the Order, and that whole arc where the temple gets bombed and everything. And you see that throughout the whole thing. I mean, he is the one that always believes in her, and still does. And and there was that scene in a few episodes before that where she's taking off and he senses her ship go by, and he's like,
yeah.
no,
I see. I love that
let
little.
this go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
it's
that.
so
Yeah.
good.
So right from the
But
get-go, I noticed that like the episode, and this is like something I caught at the second round because I was like texting or something at the beginning of episode 9, and then I look up and I'm like, that that's like the logo, but it's like red.
yeah, I
And I was
know.
like, wait, something's different. Something is going to, like, sorry, something is going to happen.
Yep,
Like, you start out with the old Lucasfilm logo. I was like, yes, yes,
I
honey, this is
know.
what I'm here for. And then, and then after that, but I think that was really brilliant, subtle nod, like subtle touch at the very beginning. Like, and if you're not looking, you miss it. But it's a huge sign of like, this is gonna be in like a show-stopping episode.
Hmm. Well, this is one of the oldest things that has not been realized in media yet. The Siege of Mandalore. It was, and people are probably going to yell at me because I don't remember exactly what it was mentioned in, but I want to say it was a book in the early 80s or novelization of one of the movies, maybe, but it was mentioned a long time ago. We're talking like 40 years ago, I think it was first mentioned somewhere. And then, so someone in the chat's probably typing at me, you idiot, it was in this. And so um, you know, this is one of the things that was still sitting out there that was never realized. So I think to put it, and it was definitely something I think George Lucas wanted to eventually realize or get to, and never had the chance. And so to give it that throwback feel is just, yes, that gave you the warm and fuzzies, and then you went into this and you're like, you're right, this is going to be a special episode. And they didn't disappoint. The action, when Anakin went up there at that battle at the beginning, and this is why all you have to do is watch this episode, and you know why Anakin is the guy that Obi-Wan was talking about in A New Hope, because Anakin is an amazing strategist, and he doesn't showcase any of this in the movies, in the feature, the theatrical releases. But here in the Clone Wars, I mean, he put on this show, and he won that battle for his side, and that was amazing. And you don't see that side anywhere else except the Clone Wars. So that was absolutely fantastic.
Again, almost like how the prequels did. It explains a lot of things. You have the Siege of Mandalore happening right before basically the very start of Revenge of the Sith, which is when Obi-Wan and Anakin head out to save
the Chancellor.
Yeah, which was still the Chancellor at the time, and no one was any wiser that he was just manipulating anyone anyway.
Nope.
And then you find out why, for example, Captain Rex didn't end up in Revenge of the Sith, because he was sent on a different mission. It's just so good. But also it's a key moment. Think about it. That's why I saw it at the same time. I need to process this. I'm if you think about it, this is the last time Ahsoka basically saw Anakin before he became Darth Vader. Technically, if you think, she went off, and then by the time that was all over, he...
Right. Well, I mean, we know, obviously, both Maul and Ahsoka come out of this alive. But we don't necessarily know what really happens. There could be, depending on how long things take, I mean, she could see Anakin one more time, right? I think logistically, right? She could, after this mission is over. I don't know if she would or not, but she could, right? Or do you think that's it? Do you think him giving her lightsabers?
The emphasis, it was, it's kind of like a farewell in a way, a very emotional one at that. It's a reunion and it's the last time, which is how you end up, that really heartfelt moment when he hands her her blades and stuff, and then he changed it up to match her new outfit.
I know.
It was just a very, and then when the helmet, I just take them the helmets.
Yep.
But yeah, it establishes a lot of things,
And Darth Maul, it's fun piecing his story together now, because now we have so many different pieces of Darth Maul thrown into so many different pieces of media. And I was looking at the timeline because it's hard to process it sometimes, because you're all right, we saw this and this and this, but this happened before this, and then you came back and now we're here. And so I was looking at a timeline and thinking of Darth Maul's kind of history, because you got to piece it together a little bit with Clone Wars, the prequels, obviously, Solo, Rebels, and comics. When you mix the comics in, there's a cool comic series, and I really don't know if it's legend or canon, because it was right on that border, and I'm not sure if it made it into being canon, but I think it is, because it was made in It was made in like 2014 or 15, I think. So I think it made the cut. But it's a 4-part series, and it's called Son of Dathomir, and it fills in some of the holes, like how Palpatine found baby Maul and brought him into, raise him and turn him into who he was. And, yeah, baby Maul. And then how Maul got from, I guess, because this took place in the Clone Wars. So it's kind of how Maul transitioned from where we saw him, I guess, at the end, partially in Clone Wars, to being like this crime syndicate boss now, and I guess kind of merges into what we're seeing here. I guess that's why it popped into my head, because it feels like that comic would have taken place right before where we're seeing Maul now. Because Maul, you're right, everybody's incorporating Maul, and it's all kind of tying together a little bit, because we then see that Maul was this big crime syndicate boss in the Solo era, which was maybe 10 years before Rebels-ish, or somewhere in that range. So it's kind of fun to see his progression as well. And now I'm really excited. I mean, I hope he's a major player in these episodes, because that's pretty fantastic to see Maul involved.
I love when Obi-Wan's like, I killed him once. Good luck with that.
I know. That's so good, right? It's funny that he doesn't care to go back, and it's funny how Maul has this obsession with Obi-Wan. And what was I watching? Was it this? Was it? See, I'm getting things blurred up. There was an episode. It must have been a previous episode of Clone Wars, where Maul was like, "Oh, I laid this trap to bring Obi-Wan was supposed to be the one to come." Was that that wasn't this episode, right? No. Was it? Oh, is that me or you?
Oh, I'm muted. Sorry. He was like, I wanted a Jedi, but it was the wrong one.
Yeah, that was in this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Episode 9. Okay.
There's a lot of Obi-Wan drama, peppered into it. Ahsoka, Ahsoka going right for the jugular. She's like, she tells Obi-Wan, she's like, don't act like you're not emotionally involved in this whole Mandalore situation because of Satine. Yeah, and I was like, oh, she's not, which is true. I'm like, but I was like, yeah. But yeah, I also love the evolution of Bo-Katan. They're both between her and Ahsoka, they're both kind of rebels within their own legions. Bo-Katan, her sister, was the ultimate pacifist. And then you have Bo-Katan, who's I'm done. We're gonna need to take back Mandalore and stop playing around. And you also have Ahsoka, who's I'm done playing around with the Jedi. I just want to, do things on my own and try my best to make things right in this horrible situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Going back and watching the last few episodes where she leaves the Order and the temple gets bombed, it really puts it into perspective, because that's the first time I think I went back and watched those 4 episodes since the
I need to still watch those.
Rebels. Because I mean, realistically, Clone Wars until Disney Plus. I mean, Clone Wars was on Netflix, and then it was nowhere for a while. And I don't.
It was on Disney Now.
Oh, was it really?
That's how I started watching it. Was it Clone Wars? No, actually, my bad. I think it was just Rebels that was on Disney Now.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into watching it, really. Because I think I missed it when it first ran on Disney Channel or Disney XD. But on Disney Now they had it, and they might have had some of the Clone Wars, but not the whole season or anything, not the whole series or anything.
Right, but Clone Wars was kind of inaccessible unless you owned it for a while, because And I don't know. I never owned it because it was usually streaming, and then I knew Disney Plus was coming, so I never, I never bought it. So anyway, I once it came on to Disney Plus, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna go back and watch it from the beginning. And I think I watched because I think I watched the first few seasons a couple of times, and the last few seasons I've only watched once. And so I went and started watching it. And I was like, you know what? And I know this is we love the prequels, but I will say that okay. Technically, Star Wars Rebels is prequel-ish. It's a prequel to the original trilogy, but it's not prequel era. But anyway, I realized how much better I liked Rebels than Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have that opinion too. You think Rebels overall is stronger?
Always, yeah. Like,
okay.
As much as I like seeing the transition of Ahsoka from like Padawan to leaving the Jedi, how like I loved seeing her like suddenly coming into like you said starting her fulcrum entity and helping out everyone on the Ghost, and like her involvement with just that whole arc, I guess I want to say. Just a strong, it's just like the ultimate form of Ahsoka. She's been through all of this stuff, and now she's guiding the next generation to like, yeah.
So I think what happened to me here is I was trying to get through the Clone Wars and kind of watch it again just to refresh me and get up on it while I had time to sit here and watch stuff. And I realized that there are a lot of episodes that are good and I liked when they came out, but I really don't care about right now because I'm a little impatient to just get to the main story thread and get through that and see the evolution of Anakin in that era, see the evolution of Ahsoka in that era, see the cool Obi-Wan moments from that era, see the cool battles and things like that. See Darth Maul and how he rose. So I found myself skipping through a lot of the episodes that were very clone-centric, which were never my favorite, but there's still some great moments in there and cool stories, but I kept skipping and skipping and skipping, and that's how I eventually got to like season 5, because I skipped through a lot of stuff and just watched some arcs here and there. And now I'm actually watching Rebels. I got through basically the 5. Yeah, I got through basically the 5 seasons of Clone Wars. I'll rewatch 6 sometime, but 6 is kind of haphazard. 6 is a weird season, although I do like the Yoda arc there. But I'm watching Rebels now, and I'm enthralled. Like I'm like, wow, this was good, because I never watched those a second time. This is the first time I'm going back and rewatching everything there. So I'm really excited and super into it. Like, it's so good.
I love this like whole notion of rewatchability with all of these, just because as more content starts being put out there, you start making all these different connections. You see it again, and you're like, "Oh, wait, there's this. Wait, there's more." Something. One of my favorite things from episode 9, and I saw like a few people posting it on Instagram and stuff. It was that scene at the very beginning when Anakin just walks out in front of all the droids, and then he's like, "I surrender," and there's like a callback, even though it's like callback to the future of Luke's first projection in The Last Jedi. I don't know if you like caught that. It's the same scene. You have him standing, and then just like a whole thing of droids, of battle droids, and then he's just like, and it's the same thing with Luke's first projection, which is like a callback but into the future, which is a thing. Like, again, it's just the coolest thing, and it's well done fan service. It's not super obvious. You have to kind of see these like cinematic parallels. It's great that we have cinematic elements in what is otherwise a kids show. Like you said, the animations come so far. I think sometimes whenever I see like like sometimes I'll watch like a season 1 episode, and then I'll follow it up with whatever else comes out on Friday, and then like, wow, like this looks so much better. It's come such a long way.
they have new character models. They have they did a lot of new voice acting. I've heard a couple interviews with like James Arnold Taylor and Ashley Eckstein, and even Tom Kane, who does the announcer and Yoda and stuff. And they have they went in and recorded a lot of new dialogue, but some of it was already laid down. But they tweaked some things because these episodes were really kind of already sketched out. And in fact, I think they showed like the unfinished version of the Bad Batch episodes or a few of those in the past. So.
Oh right,
Yeah, but
I think Colleen mentioned it. Yeah, this was like scrapped episodes that they brought back.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, a lot of it's. I mean, they went back and they really modernized the animation, and yeah, it looks absolutely incredible. So, anything else? Episode 9
this is something I've
that
been
you
seeing
caught?
in the comments. Huh?
Yeah.
Other things that
Anything?
I've caught.
Yeah. Or comments, whatever.
I don't know. I think I've been throwing them out. It's interesting. I got excited the moment I saw Bo-Katan in episode briefly in 7 and then in 8. I forget, like, because I found it kind of weird too that like even though I get it, Mandalorians are very like insular. I thought it was hilarious. Like Bo-Katan and her little squad was just walking around and like, oh yeah. Look, there's Ahsoka. Oh, she's getting into trouble. Let's just hide out here. But anyway, the bringing in of this is something I saw in the comments. So maybe like bridging these things. A lot of people are talking about Clone Wars, and now we know that Ahsoka is coming to the Mandalorian, which might mean that Bo-Katan's coming to the Mandalorian or Sabine.
Yeah.
And all these ties, I freaked out when I saw, and I guess it's like Mandalorian spoilers, so alert. At the end of the Mandalorian, when I saw the Darksaber, I like texted you. I'm like, Darksaber. This can only mean one thing. So now they're tying in these animated series with that live action series, and a lot of people are just making a lot of like tie-ins with Clone Wars and The Mandalorian. You have, I don't know, I have to always like sit down and study the chronological timelines and stuff whenever this conversation comes up. I always get, like, I get the general organization of it all, but when I, like, and here we're really, like, splitting hairs. It's like, all right, what era is this? But yeah, there's a lot of talk.
What? Yeah, I forget now. I'm kind of, like, looking. So, because in Rebels, Bo-Katan had the Darksaber last, right?
The Darksaber, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, what's his name?
Now this dude in Mandalorian has it.
Dude has
so
it.
somewhere along the way, she lost it.
Right. So I'm either hoping that Clone Wars will kind of keep fleshing that out and kind of lead into that, as it's like, because it's giving us a Siege of Mandalore. Obviously, it's going to tie into Revenge of the Sith, but it's going to, as it did in Episode 9, I'm hoping it'll also give us more glimpses into what happens that we don't see in Revenge of the Sith, because as we know, there's two separate things going on simultaneously.
So at the end of Rebels, Bo-Katan was leading Mandalore, right? Like she was the leader.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
I think
so. Yeah. So then, right. Yeah. No, I think that's the way it ended. I mean, that happened, and then that's the last we saw of her, right? That was. I'm kind of skimming through this because I forget this whole timeline too sometimes.
There's
all these different stories like Cloud you're remembering of it. So so somewhere along the way she lost it now. So it's possible that, I mean, obviously he could have killed her and took it, or what, who knows. But you're right. I mean, it's possible she could, it'd be interesting if her and Sabine were teaming up to come back and get it from him, and then they join this Mandalorian.
I'm here for it. If you hear screams the day that episode comes out, it'll be originating from this room.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know Filoni.
I would love to see it.
Filoni loves his Mandalorians, so yes, he'll bring them in. He'll bring more in any way he can. I'm trying to think of how Ahsoka gets into that episode. Gets into the Mandalorian, like why she comes across. Maybe is she searching out Force-sensitive beings and finds Baby Yoda or senses Baby Yoda, something like that? You think that's how that happens?
Yeah.
Or maybe
I have no idea.
Maybe maybe the Mandalorian gets pointed towards her because he's like, hey, I have this force sensitive little kid. What do I do with it? And how do I train it? How do I contain its power? And someone's like, hey, I know this woman, this old woman that lives up in the hills. And they go up there and it's Ahsoka.
Oh,
and then this dude, a dark blade attacks him, and Ahsoka's like, hey, I've seen that before. How'd that, and she calls up Bo-Katan and is like, hey, why don't you have this anymore? She's like, well, you found it. And then comes, yeah, there you go. That's how that happened.
Taking it a few steps back, I'm wondering what episode 10 will bring of Clone Wars.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering how that encounter with Maul and Ahsoka will be. Just because I'm like, he's gonna have one of those like be on my side moments because this is Star Wars and this is always what happens. I don't know. Obviously, she's not gonna buy into that, but I'm eager to see what kind of interaction they have, kind of back and forth there is in that squeaky clean. Squeaky clean, like subterranean sewer.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, like, I guess. Well, I guess we'll have to see. How much who Darth Maul really has on his side too. Like, what is like, why are they? Because I guess the Mandalorians are kind of protecting him, or are they working? Does he have something on them and they're working for him, like the ones that are there on Mandalore? I don't.
Yeah, because they're not on both sides. I think they're just
protecting.
And like the whole concept back then, where it's like if you don't have protection, you're a weak state and you're vulnerable to be invaded or.
Yeah, because he is a crime lord, right? So he's just getting these places under his protection, I guess. That's kind of what that comic does too. That I was talking about. Like, you could tell he's just like a crime lord who's going to all these places. He's like, well, you're you're under my protection. You're gonna do this for me. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. I like how Maul became like more a crime lord than a Sith lord. Like, he's a crime lord with Sith powers.
And they refer to him, I don't know if you noticed, I think this was in episode 8, they dropped the Darth. He's just Maul now. He's the artist formerly known as Darth Maul. He's just Maul. Which is, again, like you said, a transition from, I love it. That's what I'm here for. Some people say, however, Mandy in the comments is saying, this may be controversial, but is there too much content? And I kind of get it when we're like getting all twisted up with like, wait, what time is this happening? And what weird arc is this intersecting? I don't think there's too much content. I'm glad that there's more content to get. Again, if they hadn't kept pumping out content like Star Wars trilogies or Star Wars series, I probably never would have gotten into it. And this is something that like plays like a pretty big role in my life, especially like in terms of like what I like to watch, what I like to read about, etc. And I can't imagine not being into it. So if this more content gets putting out there, more people get kind of like inculcated into this fandom, I guess, for all its faults, I think it's a good thing.
And you know what's interesting? What we have to keep in mind is that if we're in an era like this where we're able to get more and more content, there's going to be a higher percentage of content that we may not like or care about either. That's just going to happen. You know, when there were 3 movies or 6 movies, you know, you had a higher percentage of you know, it being quality stuff or stuff you really like. But when, you know, you have so much stuff. I mean, I don't know if you even watched Resistance. I couldn't.
I couldn't get it. I mean, that's what happens
No.
with some of the Clone Wars episodes. It's sometimes Clone Wars is really well animated, it's well written, but there are definitely arcs that are just throwaway arcs because this is ultimately
Mm-hmm.
a kid's show and we have to like teach these little like life lessons about ethics and stuff. And Resistance was very much a kid's show. Like
Oh, it
I
totally
saw a
was.
few of the first episodes and I'm like I get it. I don't hate these characters. I sympathize with them. They're cool, but I could not get past like 3 episodes. But again, it's
There
geared
was
towards a
no.
different demographic.
It totally was. There was no value in Resistance for adult fans of Star Wars. There really wasn't. It
And
was
they
a
had the
fine kid
posters
show.
like plastered all over Animation Courtyard and Hollywood Studios for like I think they might still
Did
be.
you? It might.
Yeah,
No one
right up
knows.
until this last movie, everyone's just
No
walking
one's
around
able
these
to walk into
banners and
Animation Courtyard. Are the banners still up? I don't know.
like
So yeah, no, Resistance was a Saturday morning cartoon type show. You know, whereas Clone Wars, it was made with. That's what really the brilliance of some cartoons like that. I mean, if you make an animated series that appeals to kids but also has some real serious meat for adult fans, I mean, you did something special there. And you know, that's, and you can point to a lot of things. I mean, I know, you know, a totally different genre, but I mean, you know, SpongeBob is one of those things that's totally a kids show, but it has some stuff in there for adults that is just amazing.
yeah.
You know, it's on a totally different level, but you know, that's kind of what Clone Wars. Clone Wars was, well, people, you know, people say, oh, it's for, you know, it's for kids. Well, no, I mean, it's kind of not. There's a lot of serious stuff in there, especially Rebels. I mean, they both get kind of dark in a lot of spots. Yeah. But I think as far as content goes, we have. I think it was probably a good idea to put the brakes and slow down on let's release a film every year. As much as I like that in theory, I'm okay with them putting the brakes on that only because we got Disney Plus. Now, if we didn't have Disney
Yeah.
Plus and we didn't have Mandalorian, we didn't have an Obi-Wan series coming out, we didn't have a Cassian series coming out and stuff like that, we didn't have more Clone Wars, then I would say, no, let's have a film every year. But because all this happened, I'm cool with that. You know, look, I'm okay. Pump out the content because it's not necessarily has to be. It doesn't necessarily have to be for everyone. If you want to watch it, you can watch it. If you don't, you don't have to. I mean, I know huge Star Wars films that or fans that still haven't watched the Solo film because they're like, I don't care.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
I
I
loved
saw it
it.
in the theater. It was kind of yeah. It was fun. It
Yeah.
was really exhilarating. Like
Oh, it's super fun. It's super good. Alden did an amazing job. I think I really do.
yeah.
So yeah, no, there's not too much content, and then supplement that with they're doing a really good job with the comics. You finally got into the Doctor Aphra
I love
comics,
the
right?
Dr. Aphra series. Yeah.
Good. So are you caught up on that, or you got a lot
No,
to
I
go?
think
Because there's a lot.
I got a lot to go. There's so many. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
No.
love it.
Well, you got to start in Vader. Did you start in Vader to see her in
Yeah.
Vader and then go to her? Okay. Well, I mean, she has her own too. Okay. But yeah. All right. Good. Good. Just gotta make sure you're
They're
catching
all.
up.
If you're interested, by the way, if you're interested in the Dr. Aphra comic books and you have a Kindle, or you have an Amazon subscription, they are like all of the Dr. Afros are currently available on Prime Reading for free.
What?
So you can download PDFs and stuff, yeah, or load them onto your Kindle and read them on there.
What
That's
else
how
is
I'm doing it
available
right
there
now,
for
actually.
free?
I don't
Wow.
know, but like I got a Kindle when the quarantine started because I had these lofty ideas of having all this time, which I don't,
Right?
because
You don't.
thankfully I'm still working.
Yeah.
Thankfully I'm still employed. But anyway, the Kindle's there; it's not going anywhere. But I loaded a bunch of. It's weird having like I have a few comics, like physical comics, and otherwise I would just read web comics on my phone. This is totally different reading it on the Kindle, but it's still really good. And
Okay.
again, they're available for free for some reason. So take advantage if you
That's
have
cool.
Amazon.
Because I have Marvel Unlimited. That's where I get all mine from.
I think it's good if like
I
you just happen to have Amazon and you're casually looking to get into all these comics and
yeah.
they're available.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
With all that content, I mean, that stuff fills in a lot of the holes, though, too. Those comics. I like how the Star Wars comics filled in that hole between New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. That was really cool to kind of see Luke and Leia and Han go on adventures and what Darth Vader was doing during that time and all that stuff. So.
More and more of the novels are getting like more kind of mainstream. Like already people are raving about the like Ahsoka novel. There's a bunch of different character novels that have come out and people are, I'm happy for it. Like I'm like, this is why I'm like, there's not enough not that there is not enough, but there's just like it is a lot of content, but for those of us who kind of just want to keep having some form of it in like what we read or what we watch, it's a blessing.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you read the Ahsoka novel? Yeah.
No, I just heard about it the other day, but like I think there's also like Thrawn has like some Nathan recommended the Thrawn books.
Thrawn has a lot.
Yeah.
And
again, these were all very niche. Like I wasn't even fully aware that they were novelizations until a few years ago. When I found something in like a community library, it was like a Lando novel.
Oh wow!
And I was like, oh shit! Like I was like, oh, this is like something I hadn't seen before. Like, and it's giving all this like this own character's little adventure. I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah, you should check some of those out if you have time. I do the audiobooks, like I listen to them while I run now. It's easier while I drive. I'm getting really behind on like podcasts and audiobooks now that I don't have a commute. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of audiobooks commuting, and I haven't commuted for like a year and a half. So,
so the books are fantastic. They feel if you've never done a movie novelization, you really should. I go ahead and start with the prequel novelizations. They fill in a ton of what people call, plot holes and things like that from the movies. And you will get a better appreciation for like Padme's character when you don't have to see Natalie Portman act on screen. You get a lot more behind the scenes of what the Emperor was thinking, or Chancellor, or Palpatine. So it's so good. And the Plagueis novel, the Darth Plagueis novel.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, you get to see how Palpatine kills Plagueis, and it really, if you read that novel, everything that happened in Rise of Skywalker makes sense. And even in the Rise of Skywalker novelization, they flash back to Palpatine talking about, or like kind of thinking in his head about how he made the clone of his son, and it wasn't good enough, and then his son had a kid, and she was like, oh, she's powerful, let me get her, and all this stuff. So it's crazy. That guy, he could plan. He could. He's a good planner.
Talk about a master
He
plan.
knew he had forever.
All right. So let's see. We've talked ad nauseum about Clone Wars. Very excited for the next episode. Talk a little bit about the prequels. What is next on our roster? Do we want to talk
do you want to talk about Padme's costumes?
Do I?
All right. First of all, I wanted you to actually I didn't count. Let me do a quick count.
There's like 30. This is again talking about like prequel memes. This is one of like the main memes. It's like Padme had a new outfit basically every scene. So they were all incredible.
So I tried loading these pictures in, and they didn't work quite as good. But yes, so I want you. Let's see if I can pull this up. So I'm pulling this up on the website because for some reason the picture formats that I downloaded here weren't compatible. But I think you can see that, right? There you go. So we got the Queen outfits first. Do you have a favorite? Queen outfit? Is it this one? I mean, this is the classic. That's the classic.
I mean, again.
Then we got that one, right? That one's not as good. Oh, that one's good.
Even though the first one, basically, even though it wasn't the most ornate of like the headpieces or even of the gowns, it's the classic. It's that's what my inflatable chair had designed. That was basically what you saw in most of the merch. All of this other stuff was like other scenes or episodes.
So I had this thing, and I'm not doing this with the Queen's outfits, but I was going to quiz Jess on what scene she wore certain outfits in. Do you know where she wore that one?
Oh, God. I'm so bad about these. No.
No, that one's from the parade at the end of Phantom Menace.
The parade, yeah.
When Boss Nass is holding up that big ball. Everybody's celebrating at the end, yes. All right, so we got the handmaiden dresses.
Outfit, yeah.
Yeah, that one's a good one.
I was so confused as a kid. I'm like, wait, so that's not really her?
Right?
Why is she in these outlets?
I was confused too, because I was like, wait, I thought Natalie Portman was the queen.
Oh, another one?
Peasant.
Or another hint, yeah.
Yeah, when she was pretending to be the handmaiden and going with Obi-Wan, and that's when Anakin looked at her and thought she looked like an angel.
Annie.
Are you an angel? Do you know that one?
Why am I blanking out on this one? Yeah, no.
By the way, side note, Natalie Portman had to go to a photo studio and take all these pictures in all these different outfits. It was fantastic.
Well, yeah,
because
they usually do like. So this is gonna be like one of her another undercover things.
So this was a pilot disguise at the very beginning of Attack of the Clones, when they got off the ship and the ship exploded and it killed the handmaiden that was dressed as the queen. She was dressed as a pilot. Yeah.
All these disguises.
All right, we got this one. Do you remember this one?
This is why I did not agree to do a quiz on these.
You totally agreed.
I told you.
Totally agreed.
I did not.
All right, this is her refugee dress. Oh, I'm sorry.
Like half of them are her being disguised because she doesn't want to get killed. Oh, this is a headdress that's in
right.
That golden headdress is at Doc and Dars.
It's in Batu, right? Is it in Batu?
Yeah,
is that the one? Yeah.
They sell it at Doc and Dars for some reason. He got a hold of it.
All right. There's her battle dress where she got when they went to take back the Naboo. All right. And then they got some of the cartoon ones in there. Then we got
and my favorite, Battle of Geonosis.
Absolutely favorite. Now, which version do you like? This one or
the ripped up one? Oh, come on. No, but the shawl is really cool. I mean, a lot of these outfits are very crop top a lot of emphasis on crop top because obviously
Oh,
Natalie
just wait.
Portman could pull it off.
Yes.
I love this scene. The Battle Geonosis scene is one of my
gotta
favorite
show
scenes
skin, guys.
in
Come
all
on.
of the prequels. It's the Star Wars. What are you talking about? We didn't come to play. No, I think this is great. This is one of like the outfits that's always been on my like little roster of cosplay I'd like to do, but I never get around to. But yeah,
With or without the torn shirt.
I have to read the room. You know, I have to. Depends.
You'll have a version. Depending on which party you're going to, you'll have two different versions. Or actually, beginning of the party is this, but then by the end, hello. All right. Depends on if you're going to Jelly Rolls.
Didn't they use that outfit for Hyperspace Hoopla? I don't remember. I think so.
Yeah. Depends on if you're going to Jelly Rolls or not. This is Jelly Rolls. The cartoon version, more cartoon versions. Let's see. All right. So now we're into some of the casual-ish type ones.
Just casual.
Yeah. So she wore that while she was meeting with Chancellor Palpatine.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of all the big headdresses and stuff. Like that's why I like all of her looks in like Revenge of the Sith. By then she's just very like everything's very soft and sway and.
Well, those are all her maternity clothes in Revenge of the Sith.
I know. But I like them. But obviously, like but these are all great. Which one's that one?
You're right. Remember when she wore this dress? It was a decently big scene. Remember this one? No? This is her packing dress. This is what she wore to pack her clothes.
Is that
you always get dressed up like...
right. When I need to escape, when I need to go and have a low profile, this is what I wear.
She put this on to pack her suitcases. Okay. This one's called the peacock dress. Let's see what else we got. There you got that one. This is the one I believe.
The maternity looks.
Yes. So this is the maternity look. Do you know when she wore this one?
No, stop asking me.
This is the one she wore right when she came back from when Anakin came back from his happy landing, and she told him she was pregnant. So it's called the Revelation dress, by the way.
Oh.
It's kind of funny some of the names they gave to these. Yeah, that one. Let's see. That's her green dress. Let's go to some of the more. I think we're getting to the casual ones next. Hold on.
There we go. A little summer on Naboo action.
Right? There you go. You got that one.
These are
something.
Because these are the ones I know. These are like. These are the top hitters. I would kill for that dress. That whole scene is very dreamy. I hate that scene because she's like very romantic and he's just like, why not totalitarianism? And he's like, oh, we're trying to have a picnic. He's like, why not? he's like, why not do a total takeover of an authoritarian state? She's like, what?
That's how Anakin flirts, and apparently it worked.
I hated those scenes. There's like this really funny animation. Oh, I love this is great. I mean, in a follow-up episode, I should probably actually load up all of my Star Wars Day at Sea cruise pictures. But a lot of people cosplayed, and I saw one of the ladies dressed up with this outfit, and it's incredible. Like, it's one of my favorite outfits. Whenever I see people wearing it, I'm like, yes, queen.
I see this at cons all the time. It's one of my favorites too. It's a really good one. It's a good, like, because it looks both Star Wars-y ish and it looks like real world ish. It fits being on Naboo there.
Yeah,
Let's see what else we got. All right. Oh, I honestly don't even remember this one, but
I remember just like the top ones, you know, like
so that was the cloak.
oh,
But
is this
then
the
she
one
went
where she
into
goes to
Figure
yeah.
Out Fandoms.
Another
Yes,
crop top favorite. I love this outfit. Like
yeah, that's a good one. That's when she
I
goes to
mean,
visit the
what I
Lars
think there were like
homestead.
awards for the costume design in this whole in
Mm-hmm.
all of the prequels.
You got it when you go visit the parents. This is what you wear.
Just low key.
You should see. So I think it's even worse. I don't know if you ever saw the deleted scenes. You own Attack of the Clones, like
No.
a version of it,
I
or
I do have the
I wonder if
DVDs.
it's
I
on
have
Disney
like the
Plus. Do they have the
for
extras on
last
Disney
year.
Plus?
No, I don't know. You have to like go under like you have to find them. And again, Disney Plus is so hard to navigate. I it just
Yeah.
rage. When you're on a computer, it's easier, but if you're like on watching it on a Roku or something, it's just impossible to find an episode,
Mm-hmm.
much less special features.
Right.
But I do have, after like a few years of like May the 4th, where I last year I just went gung ho. I didn't even want to wait, or was it? It was like 2 years ago, 2018 or 2017. I bought like the full like disc, like the 6 DVD set. Maybe that has some of the deleted scenes on it.
Okay. So they have
Yeah,
a whole deleted scene. Did you ever see the deleted scenes where she goes and takes Anakin to her parents' place, and you meet her sister and like her siblings?
no,
And okay,
no, but I want to see
there,
this.
yes, there are some scenes that were never that weren't in the film. She meets Anakin meets her parents, her siblings, goes to her family's home, and she is wearing the most ridiculous crop top shirt in that. Like, I think
I
it's
mean, another
different than
thing.
this one, and it's ridiculous. Like, she's not wearing anything at all, and like that's what you're wearing to like show
Yeah,
your boyfriend to your parents. Like, I mean, I don't know, it
I
was
mean,
weird.
same. But no, another thing that like kills me about this outfit and like the scene is like she's just casually visiting Tatooine and like Anakin's off there, like off somewhere, murdering a whole village of people.
Right?
And
Yeah.
here she is in like this angelic. I mean, they did it on purpose. It was like they kind of built up that like dichotomy of like she, you know, she was like you know, kind of like this peace, and then he was like veering over to the dark side.
Yeah.
So they had that going on, but again, like gorgeous white linen embroidered dress, and then he's off killing people. Not just the men, but the women in the comments. Yes.
Oh yeah.
And the children too, everyone. Yeah.
Everyone. The children. All right, let's see what else we got. All right, that's a good one from the cartoons.
The cartoons have come a long way.
All right, so
Oh,
this one,
I love when she goes full like leather look. Yes.
right? So this one bothers me because she's like totally seducing him in that room, and then says, "No, we can't do this." It's crazy, but she's wearing that.
I love it. This is one of my the little like metal thing on the top. It's one of the best. Very subdued. Again, these are the looks that look better. But again, I get the need to do the crazy headdresses because this is Star Wars and she was royalty.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a nice mixture of these things.
Okay, so this is something. This is when some of the trailers and like the promo shots for Clone Wars came out. In one of the scenes she's wearing one of these, and this is what like totally set people off. Like, oh my god, like Clone Wars is going to overlap with Revenge of the Sith.
Oh,
This is the Mustafar.
yeah, this is what she wore in Mustafar when she
Yeah.
went to confront Annie. Yep.
Annie.
Maternity.
Oh, the maternity dress. The only thing that sticks out to me from these scenes are that robot that goes wee.
Love the robot.
Because that's what I want, extracting a child from me. Cold robotic hand saying, oh, another nightgown.
So here's
But
all
this
there's a
isn't the
nightgown.
nightmare.
No.
This isn't.
So
the,
this one, she
I
got
want
the
to see the
nightgown with
nightmare
the
nightgown.
robe. That robe
My
looks
favorite
so
nightgown
soft.
is the one. Yeah.
Oh, I know which
to the
one you're talking
that's
about.
probably
Yeah,
coming up.
not that
Which I'm
one.
like, how do you sleep in that?
That one, right?
Is this it? Is it that one? She might have
I
multiple.
think so.
But the one where Anakin has like the prophetic nightmare, he wakes up and she's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And she's just wearing it's like draped in like pearls and like rocks, and I'm like, "Girl, that's what you're sleeping in."
Yeah, I think that's all her
I think so. I think that's
yeah.
it.
I think it
It looks
is.
slightly different on screen than it does in this still. But yeah, just metal and beads. That's just what you sleep in. Yeah.
Wedding dress.
The secret wedding dress.
It's not the nicest of wedding dresses.
But it was secret. So they were eloping. They couldn't go all out, Oh, I love this dress.
You never really get to see it.
No, but I love like the whole look. I know, as sad as it is when she passes away, it's a pivotal moment, and then they kind of go for this like Ophelia look of her just like waiting and then just like covered in flowers. It's a great scene, I think.
Yeah. Now,
I
do you think they keep her in the water?
Tragic. Huh?
Like, did they keep her in the water, or is that just to like show her off here? Like, did they bury her in the water or shoot her off into space?
I think it's a metaphorical type thing. I don't know.
I think that's it. That's it. Yeah.
You want to talk about range? It's, Padme's outfits. That's it.
Yeah. So your favorite is the Geonosis battle.
Yeah, just because I think any battle outfit is always going to be my favorite, and that's one of my favorite scenes overall. Yeah.
All right. Well, now we have all of her. Now we have all of Obi-Wan's outfits. No, just kidding.
No. See, the guys for the most part wear the same thing every day. It's like just my robes, just my Jedi robes. Which is why Padme was just a revolution.
All of Ki-Adi-Mundi's outfits now.
Oh, actually, one of the low-key things that I love about Padme is some of her handmaiden, like her main handmaiden. I'm forgetting her name now. She was also like stunting in some pretty crazy outfits alongside her. Either because she was dressed up as her or because she had to look the part of like royal companion. Someone in the comments said secret wedding bobsled training facility.
Yes.
I love that this joke is still going.
It transcends the show we're on. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's another 7.
So Nick, have you had a chance to watch Backstroke of the West? I think I showed it to you, but we were like in the hallway. I didn't get a chance to fully show it to you.
Yes.
Have you gone back and watched it by any chance?
I've never sat there and watched the whole thing, or really just sat there and watched it, but I've seen pieces of it. That is amazing. So tell everybody what that is.
Yeah, I think that's like if we're talking about prequels, you gotta. So this is hilarious, and I think for 1 year for May the 4th, for May the 4th usually I do the traditional thing. I guess is like just do all the movies all day long. But 1 year, we just watched Backstroke of the West. And what Backstroke of the West is basically you take Revenge of the Sith. The Revenge of the Sith had to be translated into multiple languages for all of like the global releases. And in China, it was released and translated. And what they did with the translated China subtitles is that they got those subtitles and literally translated them back into English. So what happens is, and this is fascinating because I worked in translation for a long time, since you're translating something back, it's already gone like 3 ways into different languages. What you're getting is that you're translating things that don't translate back into English. And if you look it up, there's like the whole breakdown of like what everything means. So the full version is available on YouTube, because what they did was that someone got the script, translated back the script. So, and like a group of people got together and literally did voiceovers using that messed up script for the entire movie. And it's actually pretty well done.
Yeah.
So, for example, they're funny, like Padme. The way Padme got translated is that Padme is now plum. And then the Empire is like the Protestant church. I don't know how it happened. I should probably look up like the translations, because it's pretty fascinating if you're into languages and stuff. And
why were you translating stuff?
that's just what I did for a living.
Oh,
before I wrote
didn't know that.
Disney Cupcakes.
Disney Cupcakes.
So the full title, when you translate it back, was Star Wars: The Third Gathers, The Backstroke of the West. Again, it's because nothing, and everything was translated by machine. So that's also what leads to like literal translations, because you don't have a human. Like, say you just Google translated the whole thing into Chinese and you translate it all the way back to English, all using just Google Translate. There's no human to like be like, oh, the syntax doesn't work here, or this word doesn't even exist in this language. So it was just this mishmash of so I pulled up all right, Senator Padme Amidala, the plum of or gets the rice for some reason. So one of the characters in Padme's name is May. In Chinese it's plum. So then that's just what Padme became plum. It was just General Grievous was just Space General. Obi-Wan Kenobi was called the Willing Compares.
Yeah.
None of the, Supreme Chancellor Palpatine was Mr. Speaker. R2-D2 was Reach the Man.
I don't even know how that happens with letters.
Anakin Skywalker translated to Allah Gold. Let's see, there's just some... They're all just so ridiculous. Sith Lord translates back into South Host. And again, these are just, you're translating literal characters back into like phonetic English. So some of these just, the Jedi Council is known as the Presbyterian Church.
So
because when you translate it, it literally means a council of elders. So Presbyterian Church ruled by elders. So it's available on YouTube. This is just a quick aside. I always talk to people who were into the prequels. This is just and especially for me, like I know Revenge of the Sith by heart. I can pretty much recite the whole movie. It's one of the few movies I just watch it and I'm like the annoying person that just talks the whole time because she knows exactly what's coming up next, etc.
Wow.
So if you know the full English script and you watch this, it's just hilarious because you know what they're supposed to say. So like at the end, and he's like, "Oh, where is Padme?" He's like, "Plum." So just really funny. The big scene at the end when he's like, "No," when they like unveil him and he finds out that Padme is dead, etc. And the no translates to do not want. And this became one of the bigger memes during that era. I don't know if you remember, like, do not want. It comes from this. It comes from the literal Chinese Chinese translation of Revenge of the Sith. And that's my TED Talk about this weird subset
great.
of Star Wars. That's it. I can leave now. I'm gonna leave now. No.
That's fantastic. I gotta sit and watch that at some point.
It's really good. Once gatherings are allowed back again, it's a really fun like group watch or watching with someone, just like having some beers and watching it. It's just ridiculous. Some scenes it just doesn't make sense for like a long time, but again, if you know the movie, then you'll be like, oh my god, this is not how this is supposed to go. And then the people who did the voiceovers did it really in earnest. Like they did it as if that was the actual script. So great, hearing them like recite these lines super matter-of-factly is also helps. It's just hilarious.
We should find the Backstroke of the West people and interview them.
Oh, that would be kind of cool. I don't even know. That was like a team of people. First, it just came up as like a translation. Like they just burnt the subtitles back on, the bad subtitles, but then someone took it a next step and just did the full voiceover for the whole movie. And they got people to do Padme. They got people to do Anakin and Obi-Wan, and everyone was different. It was just great. People are saying that should be your next watch along. That'd be pretty funny. Maybe if there's like a midnight slot.
Well, the only problem with that is that we can't broadcast the audio. I don't think the audio itself isn't really like copyright. That's how they got around with basically putting the whole movie on YouTube. You can watch the whole movie, just none of the audio is original. So basically they aren't like putting the whole movie. So that like there's one year where I didn't have like cable or anything. I didn't have any subscriptions, so that's what we watched for May the 4th, because it was the only thing I could find on YouTube. But it actually ended up being like a great tradition. It's very kooky. It's my favorite. Yeah, I guess this is a good time as any to sit and watch that. I every time I think of it, I'm like, I don't feel like.
I get it.
So I've only watched like clips and pieces. Yeah. All right, maybe I'll put it on today.
It's like, now that I have Disney Plus, I just watch one of their prequels or whatever. It's nice to have them all, like, not have to lug out the DVD player or whatever and put it. But yeah. That'd
be funny if Disney Plus like adds it. Disney Plus should totally add the holiday special. There's no negative to that.
And people keep saying it. Yeah. We need more of the specials. I haven't seen many of them because they're just really hard to find.
Yeah. And now that Disney owns everything, like I understand why George didn't want these coming out, but like they should also put out the original cuts of the original trilogy.
People were asking that. People, whenever, like, on Twitter or something, you have, like, a Disney post about Star Wars, are like, please release them just for one day. I don't know, do a live stream, do something, or, like, just have them available for one day on Disney Plus, maybe, like, May the 4th or something. Just a full uncut, redone movies, which I think would be
I'd
cool.
love to see it. I mean, it's been forever since my VHSs.
Do you have the movies on VHS? I do not.
Yeah, I just don't have a VHS player.
We might have like Clone Wars. We might have like Attack of Clones on VHS, but
really? Oh, okay, yeah. I have a cool. Is it here? Let me look. Hold on a sec.
For those of you who have not been to Nick's house, I went the day of our Star Wars Cooking with Nick version for the marathon. Nick has the most incredible array of collectibles, and they're all in like these cute little curios, like old school curios throughout the house, of just a bunch of toys, figures, memorabilia. Everywhere you look, it's probably like I'd like to just spend an afternoon just like going through all of his stuff. It's pretty amazing. What do you have for us? Oh, what?
So this is my Phantom Menace VHS special edition. So
That's so cool.
it comes in this cool box, right?
That's amazing.
And open it up, and it has Naboo there at the top,
Has like
and then a
like
book.
That?
Yeah, kind of, but it's like it's stuck to there. You can't take it out. It's glued onto the box. And then it comes with this book, an excerpt from The Art of Star Wars, Episode 1. It's not the whole thing, but it has.
That's so neat.
It has some of the art and an excerpt from it. And then, cool. All right, hold on. It has I have a widescreen VHS copy of Phantom Menace. So I think this is so this is called the widescreen collector's edition, but it's not like a special edition or anything. So this VHS should still have Puppet Yoda, because you know how like in Phantom Menace it was originally Puppet Yoda, and then they went back and put the digital Yoda in that they used in the
CGI,
that they used in. But when it was in theaters and everything, and I think the first home video release also had Puppet Yoda, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they fixed it before the home release. But have you went back recently and looked at Puppet? Like, have you seen anything? That Puppet Yoda is so creepy looking now. Like, he looks so much worse than like the Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi Yodas. I'm awesome. But the Puppet Yoda from Phantom Menace is so creepy looking. So I'm actually fine that they digitally put Yoda back in. Then it also comes with this. And I know you're not going to be able to see.
What is that?
It's a film strip. So it's a film strip.
What?
Now mine, and I know you're not going to be able to see it. I don't think there's any way I can show you. But it's the scene. It's a scene with Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Jar Jar. And I think it's like from the Gungan City when they went down to talk to Boss Nass.
Got like a different strip?
A different scene, different
segment.
Strip.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I got a pretty good one. I'm pretty happy with my Jar Jar film reel. But yeah, that's cool. So this was I actually found this at like
the other day.
A garage sale like years ago. I was just sitting in some dude's driveway, and I was like, "How much you want for that?" He's like, $1. All right.
What? No.
Yeah.
With the film strip and the whole deal?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So I love this thing.
A few months ago, it wasn't long, but right before the Disney Movie Rewards went under or like they rebranded and stuff, I had a few points I had to burn before they moved to like Disney Movie Insiders or whatever. And one of the things that used to be a redeemable prize was, and it just said mystery DVD, and I was like, all right, whatever, like it's free, I'll get a free DVD, whatever, if I get like Secretariat or whatever, or like some weird thing, so be it. And then when it arrives, it is actually Rebels. It's that first episode on DVD, and it came with like a little. I have the DVD somewhere. I could probably go run and get it. Has like a build your own ghost.
No,
let me
really?
run and see.
Like
it's in my bedroom. It's in my bedroom. I will run over and get it.
This is fun to do. Show and tell time. We should have a whole show and tell section of either Star Wars or just Disney in general. That'd be fun. Imagine going. I think this has been pitched around WDWNT, but we've talked about like a like a what's in Tom's closet type thing, where we just like go into Tom's closet and pick out some things and show them to everybody. There's so much stuff. I mean, that's the purpose, I guess, of the studio on iDrive we have the museum boxes set up there where people can come visit once people can actually come visit us again. But I thought like this would be the perfect time for Tom to dive into his closet and just do like a show and tell. He has the most incredible stuff in there. They have decent stuff. They have fun stuff. But I have a large, different, I guess it's over that shoulder, isn't it? Yeah, gonna go that way. So you can see I have a mixed mash of stuff, whether it be Disney, Star Wars, Stranger Things, all kinds of stuff. There's plenty more over there that you're not seeing. Let's take a little tour. Oh, go way up there. I'm going to show you that way up there. So I really like that guy. Again, I'm pointing to the wrong side. That's my Duffy the Disney Bear and a TIE Fighter way up there. I love that one. That's it's a Darth Vader Duffy, too, when they used to be able to do characters in Star Wars
Darth
stuff.
Vader Duffy.
So that's good. Max
Right.
Rebo is up there. I have some good stuff. We're going to go that. Sorry, I'm just giving people a tour of my room.
Star Wars Rebels.
Oh.
First episode, Spark of Rebellion. So I was screaming. I was like, I had no expectations what I would get. I knew it would be something random. I get that this is probably in the random pile, but I was very excited to get it.
It's very random.
So it has like this really cool sleeve. I got excited thinking it was like more of the series, but it's just that first episode. But it does come with a 3D model kit of the Ghost.
Like a Middle Earth or no?
No, it's cardboard.
Have you built it yet?
No.
Oh, this is the perfect time. This is when I'm going to build all the stuff that I've never built, right?
This is one of the I'm like afraid to touch it just because like it's so cool. Yeah, just like truck ends. These are all the parts. It's so cool. Like,
oh my!
This is the last. Like, I got so excited because the Ghost is just. I love Rebels, so like the Ghost is like one of the ships that I know the most, and it's really cool.
You need to build that.
So it's just like a bunch of like cards and stuff. Oh
yeah,
I'm hearing them like crunch out of the perforations, and it's giving me anxiety.
No, punch them all out and build it. It doesn't do any good sitting in that box.
Build it.
Don't be Tom Corliss.
So I guess that's what it would look like built.
Toys are meant to be played with. You should see my room here. I take everything out of the packaging.
I just thought this was such a cool, random, of all the weird DVDs they had in their backlog, they sent me basically the coolest thing, and the Spill Your Own Ghost, so cool.
That's neat.
Oh, and of course, since I'm really bad with like maintaining my DVDs, A New Hope is the DVD that's in here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I just binge them all, and then they all just get chucked back into random boxes.
That's why I'm not a fan of physical media anymore. Like, because I do the same thing, and I have no idea where stuff is. Like, all my video games are in different cartridge cases and stuff. I say cartridge, but because I'm thinking Switch is a cartridge. Well, Switch does have cartridges, but I mean, the other games are in different cases. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
You know what I missed since we're talking about merch?
Yeah, go for it.
You know the Disney diecast Elite figures, the diecast figures, they stopped making those. They stopped after, I think they might have made some for, they definitely made some for Last Jedi.
The diecast stuff.
Yeah, I mean, those figures are really cool. So you really didn't think my Rey...
Huh?
That's the Rey that you saw. It wasn't somebody cosplaying.
No, but like the way the photo was positioned, it kind of looked like there was like a larger than life figure there.
That was the plan. No, that Rey's really cool. She comes with different like outfits. You can put her desert mask and everything on her and all kinds of stuff. So it's really neat.
I have my desert mask somewhere. Let me go get it.
Oh, you have a real desert mask? Oh boy. Desert. Oh, in the bag.
So, a few years ago, I made my own Rey costume. It was just a desert Jakku Rey. But ever since, I've been trying to level it up because I kind of just made it really quickly. It came out pretty good. But ever since, my brother's been giving me stuff so I could level up my game, and I actually have the desert.
That's amazing. Oh.
Yeah. They look weird. I still have part of the whole thing is that I have to work on like molding them to my face. Also, overall of the drapes and stuff, it'll look different, but right now it looks huge on my face.
I was gonna say that looks enormous. I didn't know if it was the depth perception
Well,
there.
these are
No,
all...
that's huge.
It's huge. Like I can't even put it on.
Yeah.
Wait.
No, that's. Oh my, those are just gonna fall off.
I'm ready to go now.
Oh my goodness. That's fantastic.
That's what everyone came to see me with oversized goggles. No, I have to like mold them to my face. But
Yes.
these are all like handcrafted by people in the cosplay community, like coming up with all of these like costume bits by hand, which is incredible.
Oh, so that was made by somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because like I can do the sewing and like makeup stuff, but as far as that goes, I like these are like the gloves. I just dropped the gloves on the microphone. These are like the actual gloves that she wears when she's scavenging. I have a random Game Boy here. I also have Mickey's Dangerous Chase.
Yes. I love random Game Boy. I love Jessica's grab bag of toys here.
No, this is like this whole room is a mess all the time, but this is my random grab
This
bag.
needs to be a show. We all bring a bag of stuff and then just go through it.
So big part of the costume are these like the arm wraps. So this is usually what we use. I used a rubberized version for my last costume, and it sucks. I spent like a bunch of time dyeing them, and now that like the rubber in them has oxidized and turned them just like this weird orange color. So I have to start again, and I have to dye these and make them screen match.
Yeah, Ray hates when that happens. He has to trade in some of her portions for dye.
Speaking of Ray and cosplaying, I sent you a link. I thought years ago when I first started on the website, I sent it to you on Slack. It's a link to a website post, one of our posts. So one of my earliest things that I wrote, part of how you get onboarded onto WDWNT's like writing crew, at least back in the day, was that you would submit a sample article. And my sample article was a recap of my adventures aboard the Star Wars Day at Sea on the Disney Cruise Line.
I'm going to pull this up. Give me a moment.
So maybe we can just like... I don't have any videos on that one, but...
was calling Tom up and saying, "Hey, do you want a radio show?" And he said yes.
Yeah, but no, like it's kind of funny. Like my first thing, I had just gone on that cruise in February, and it was just one of the coolest experiences. And like on the cruise, you don't really have Wi-Fi or anything, so I would just have my phone like just as a camera essentially. So I would just document everything.
Cupcakes, cantina music, cosplay, the 3 C's of a Disney cruise.
Welcome to my first ever post.
Get it, the 3 C's.
I was very excited. So I thought I would do like a little photo report of my experiences there. So I gave a little bit of background. So basically, the Halloween beforehand, my brother, who was a big Star Wars fan, Again, late bloomers, both of us. We both got into it when we were like well into our 20s instead of like growing up with it.
Hey, Jess.
Um, yeah,
Jess, you keep talking. I'm just going to run to get some water. I need some more water. I'll be right
yeah,
back.
same.
You
I
keep
like took
talking.
a giant gulp. I got you. Mandy, don't make fun of my title, okay? This is like very bare bones. Tom never edited anything. He just let it go out. So this is just my first shot at a post. So what you're seeing here, basically in October, that October before, October 2017, my brother's like, yeah, let's do a themed, Star Wars themed Halloween party. And I'm like, okay, I can come up with something. But then he's like, no, we're not doing just any Halloween. I want everything to be screen accurate. That was his term, screen accurate. So basically, I couldn't just, like, I wouldn't have done it anyway because I'm not a big, like, pre-made costume person. But I couldn't just go to, like, Party City or something or, like, Box Lunch and get a version of a costume. It had to be um, like screen accurate. It had to match the movies as closely as possible. And by that definition, I basically had to make it myself because I didn't have enough time to like fully like commission someone to make something for me on Etsy or anything. So I'm like, okay, I have a sewing machine. I have some sewing skills. So I got working on the costume and I finished it basically right on time for that
Wow.
Halloween. And so I made the blouse. I made like the big old sash. I even made the belt off of like pleather. It was again just making something on a very low budget. Took me like a few trips to Joann Fabrics. Um, so then and then like the boots, I didn't have the right shoes, so I just picked whatever like Forever 21 boots I had. So that wasn't screen
Uh,
accurate,
uh,
but it couldn't hold me against me. And he made me that blaster that you guys see in that photo there. And that was that Halloween. So he set up this huge backdrop. Like he gets super into it too. He's really the creative one. And that's him
oh,
on
so this
the
is
left.
wow. So
Yeah,
where's this backdrop?
this
This
is
is
just a
actually a.
neighborhood. Yeah, this is like
Oh
just this is
wow.
just his house. He set this up on his driveway.
No
And he
way.
made the backdrop. Yeah, he was working on that backdrop for months. He wanted to replicate the interior of like the ship and stuff, um, which is incredible because I'm like, think about like that's exactly what they had to replicate inside Rise of the Resistance. Um, so so that was him in
That
the
looks
Kylo
so
Ren
good.
over on the left. It was super fun because then everyone, it wasn't just people stopping in for it wasn't just people stopping in for candy and like, oh hi, whatever, Halloween. People were super like, and that's ultimately what he wanted. He wanted an immersive experience for everyone in his neighborhood to come by and experience Star Wars. So my sister-in-law,
Wow.
she's a Jawa.
Ah!
um, and then one of my brothers-in-law is the Praetorian Guard. The what are those? Is that what that is?
So your
I
brother's
always get these
Kylo
like
Ren there? Is that
yes.
okay?
Yeah. So that was at
Well, that looks
Halloween.
like an
Um,
Emperor's guard, actually. I think, right? Or is that
yeah, an
is
Imperial Guard.
the
I
Imperial Guard?
always
I don't think that's one of the Praetorian guards. Yeah,
just the red always throws me
that's
off. But again,
awesome,
it was
though.
so much fun. And we were just
Wow.
out there. I threw on a little bit of an accent too, like a Daisy Ridley accent.
Oh
Um,
my God, do that for us
uh,
right now.
no, I don't know how I did it that whole night. I think everyone was just super in the mood and like we just all went with it and like I was like aloof around my brother so like so like some tension and like we're like enemies and then my sister-in-law just Ojawa she was just like going around like kind of like the Jawa I told her how the Jawas were at Hollywood Studios. I really miss those, by the way. I wish we still had those. So she would like go around with like kids like bartering for candy, which is great. And then the Royal Guard, the Imperial Guard was just like intimidating people. But again, it's Miami, and in October it's still really hot, so the guard he just kept having to like go inside to like clean the helmet because it kept getting fogged up. It was great, so that was super fun. And then
So if I
my
give you a
parents
line, will you
had
do it in Daisy Ridley's voice?
I don't know if I can, and I'm very shy.
Oh,
I was
right.
just in the zone.
All right. I won't push you.
But everyone was cracking up because they're like, "Oh my God, Jess is really into it right now," and I was. It was a great night. He tries to do it fairly often. Like I think last year we did a different theme, but he always does a theme. And then he went on to join the 501st and like seek approval with his costume. Like that's how legit he is. Still very active. Still has like all the new versions of Kylo Ren. Still really cool. I'm still here with my like homemade Jakku version. But again, at one point, eventually, I will have time and I'll make some more stuff. But anyway, back to the cruise. My parents
Go
had
on,
booked a
scroll
cruise.
down.
Yeah, a little bit if you want. So, it was super great. Honestly, if you're considering a Disney cruise and you are really into Star Wars, these themed cruises, the Marvel and the Star Wars cruises, I have noticed that they do run at a bit of a premium in terms of price, but in any case, Disney cruises are um, pretty prohibitive in price as it is. So if you're really into it,
Mm.
I would really recommend going on one of these themed cruises because you'll pretty much have a whole day of something where you just be bombarded with, and you'll be surrounded by like-minded fans and people. So again, this is a funny thing. A lot of people, including my parents, just booked a cruise and they didn't realize it was a Star Wars cruise. So then we're like we're rolling up to Cape Canaveral, and I'm looking at the booklet, and I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, this is a Star Wars Day at Sea. What is this? We're like, oh, I don't know. We just booked a cruise, um, and that's when I got super excited because I realized it was Star Wars Day at Sea. I think
Wait, but you had
this
the
might have not been
costume.
like as yeah. I was like, wait a minute, this is actually like just, but it was relatively close to the date we sailed. And like, thankfully, I realized right beforehand, and they did pack it. But it was still one of those very like serendipitous, like, oh, look at that.
That's
um,
cool.
yeah.
So
So
you
I
didn't,
packed
your
everything up.
parents didn't know when they booked the cruise
No,
that they
no,
were
they just
booking
thought it
in
was
Star
just
Wars.
another like 7 day cruise. Um, and
Huh.
I was like, oh, I don't know how themed it's gonna be, how they're gonna play it out. Is it gonna be easy? Is it gonna be like what's gonna be the activities? It was amazing. Um, so I did pack up my costume, which I had conveniently made that October. So I just packed it up by then. My brother had given me that Force Effects lightsaber for Christmas. So I had like another element. I still had the same costume though. Um, so the night before, there's usually one day that's designated to be like the Star Wars Day at Sea. And the night before, I started noticing a bunch of people just randomly congregating at the atrium, which is going to be like, say, like the lobby of the cruise line. It's like the 3 floors. You have like the main entrance. And I noticed everyone was there. I'm like, something's gonna happen, and it was great. They have live bands on the cruise, and like the little jazz band was playing the cantina music, and it was just amazing. I should make the video. I don't have it embedded in the post, um, but basically, like all the lights turned red, and the band suddenly stops, and then out comes Darth Vader and some stormtroopers, and it's the Imperial March and stuff. It's just, and the crowd just goes wild. And this is the night before, so like they do a really good job of like hyping it up. Even as you board, there are these amazing. I mean, these are some of the photo ops that you probably get at the Run Disney races. I'm guessing, or like Star Wars. Uh,
Hmm.
like any of the themed Star Wars events at the parks, I'm guessing, Nick. Like
Yeah,
for me, this is the
yeah,
first
you
time
probably
I
get
saw
some of
like
these.
the Han Solo Frozen and Carbonite prop in person. But I assume like there's probably like at other like Hollywood Studios events and stuff.
It's really cool because, yeah, one of the best parts about the Run Disney is at the end you get these cool, set pieces kind of that you get to take your pictures with, and one of them is the carbon freeze with Boba Fett standing next to the Han
That's
Solo and
great.
Carbonite. And so, yeah, it's definitely a great photo op.
Yeah. So even though the like full like they try to gauge it so that people who have accidentally book this cruise don't get overwhelmed with Star Wars stuff. But right when you get on board the ship, you have all these like photo ops set up, and they're just so cool. These props are like just there, and like like all the panels on the carbonite light up and stuff. It's so that's so then the night before the actual Star Wars Day cruise, they kind of like do that little like pretend they have like they overtake the ship essentially. So the next day starts the Star Wars Day at Sea, and so throughout the ship, here we're seeing like a photo of the theater. In the theater, and this is something that goes on throughout the entire cruise. They basically show every Star Wars movie throughout the whole week, and then on the Star Wars Day at Sea day, they show all of the movies that same day, just like a full 24-hour marathon. And it was super like, this is like something I'd love to do, but it wasn't like, I know they did a similar marathon for like the release of The Rise of Skywalker, but here, you can go to the bar, you get a drink, you go take a nap, or you drop into whatever movie, you leave, you come back, so cool. And then it's just like, it's always there. And then right in between each movie, the screen in the back, it's kind of like, I took these photos like an iPhone 5. The screen in the back, it's like the little trivia for like Star Wars trivia, and it's just really fun. You're surrounded by people who love the movies, like the trivias and the bars and stuff are all Star Wars trivia that day. And then there's a lot of cosplay, which is really fun. I went ahead and dressed up. Oh god. These are like photos.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of meet and greets. You do have to get, tickets to these meet and greets, but it's kind of like a boarding group. I know that's very triggering for many people. But before the cruise, you basically sign up online, and you have your little, and when you get into your room, you'll have the little paper passes. You have your selected slot where you can show up and just do like a really, like, we waited 5 minutes to just take photos with C-3PO and R2-D2, and I love the little background. Yeah. And
that seems like it would work really well, that system on a cruise for photo ops, where you just get a time slot. You just sign up for them and get a time slot.
There's so many good photo ops, and like if you want to just meet the characters, they're very, like, you have a bunch of time. You're not really rushed. The only one that sense was rushed was a Chewbacca meet and greet. That one was super popular. But again, you can meet Darth Vader, you can meet the droids, and again, there's these really fun like backdrops and stuff. And there's some just photo ops that are just basically like the inside of a ship or something like that, and you can take like professional shots with your costume. My mom did like a photo package for me. I don't have any of the photos. She just has them somewhere to like embarrass me. But this one thing, so everyone who dresses up, they do
note to self,
round up.
Text Jessica's mom for photos.
They do a quick, so like they pick out everyone who dresses up gets like fun. They do like a feature of all like the top costumes and stuff. If you don't make it into like one of them, everyone gets their time to like show off their costume and like tell people like what their inspiration was. And I was chosen amongst like an entire family who's like the mom made all of the costumes. And then there was some 501st people. There's a guy dressed up as Darth Maul who was actually really good at like sabercraft. He was like legit. They had him like do a display. So these are all just fans, and the cruise line like brought us all up to like the balcony here in the main atrium, and basically just had us like talk about our love of Star Wars, how we made our costumes, etc. It was just the greatest moment because like everyone's just there. There's just like very, like, I guess it's kind of like, I mean, this was my first, I guess, Star Wars event. So for me, this was the first time feeling like, oh my god, there are other people out there who also really like this and who are just as passionate about it, and it was just so cool.
This was 7 days?
This is 7-day cruise, but only Star Wars only gets like one full dedicated day. Again, throughout the week, there are like there are like separate Star Wars events, but like this is the day where all of us, just Star Wars everywhere. There's, you can be lounging around the pool and there are stormtroopers like hassling you. It's really fun. I think even if you don't know anything about Star Wars, it'll still be like a fun day. Again, you get to meet
So
other
the
fans
photo
that you
ops
met.
are just one. Are the photo ops just one day then too?
I think the photo ops are out. If I recall, the photo ops are out all week. But I don't.
Uh-huh.
They like open at specific times, and then sometimes like they'll get like they'll put something else over it, like a normal like for
Okay.
formal night or something. They'll put that backdrop out. But yeah, like you can take a photo with Han Solo and Carbonite whenever, or any of the other photo ops. But yeah, this day, like unless you go to like like a con or something, I'm very shy. So the notion of like dressing up and just walking around in a costume like this is just so. But I felt super comfortable. Why? Because it's like you're surrounded by other people who are also cosplaying. Everyone's in the mood, like in that vibe, and you're on a cruise. So like, if I'm like done wearing my costume, I could just go to the stateroom and change and be done with it.
Yeah.
Super fun, super fun. They don't really keep track of like how in the park sometimes like they want to really pay attention to like chronological order and stuff. Here they have everyone out. Here you have like
Good. Yeah.
new trilogy people. You have rebels out there. I got to meet got to meet Sabine and Ezra and stuff. You also
Mhm.
have Zam Wessel walking around, which I was amazed because I like only heard of this walk around character, but there you have them. A lot of rare characters again that you might only get on a race or Star Wars Day or something. Also, all the
Well, you
troops were
never.
themed.
I assume you never did Star Wars weekend then, right?
No, I never
Or
did. No.
okay.
So for me,
Yeah,
like my
because those
main, like
are great.
I never did any of the extra ones. Like I just really loved whenever I was in the parks and back when they had like Jawa trading and stuff. I would always pass by and mess around with the Jawas, or
Mhm.
but that was it. I remember during the after hours event that we did during Stage 89, I was blown away that they had the Ewoks meeting and greeting. Just because again, like
Mhm.
I've never seen any of that. Like that was all new to me. Um,
Because I know Zam Wessel was
but yeah,
out during Star Wars weekends.
yeah, so you have a lot of those characters out, which is great. And like you don't have to travel very far. They're really kind of like Disneyland. They don't a lot of them like Zam didn't have a character attendant. She's literally going around like a bounty hunter and she's like hiding behind elevators, like
Yeah.
things and just coming up to people. Then when I took the pictures of these cupcakes, I was like it was just so exciting. There was just so much going on that I'd forgotten to have breakfast. And I just sat down and had like a latte and some of these cupcakes. And even then, I'm sitting down trying to finally have breakfast at like 11 o'clock. And some like Imperial officers come and just start interrogating me. Like, so even, and and there's no need for like attendance or any lines. Everything's very organic on the cruise since it's like a controlled, closed space. So they
Mhm.
just come up to people and there's just like here are these two Imperial officers like interrogating me, like they're on to me. It's really fun. And then as you saw earlier on, they have this big giant TV that basically faces the pool. It's called like the funnel vision because it's literally a giant TV on one of the ship's funnels.
Matt,
And on that, they
yeah.
had all of like the Star Wars little tiny shorts, like the animated shorts and stuff. It was great. You're just
Uh,
lying out there getting some sun, and there's just like Star Wars cartoons. Of course, they had all the little
aw.
souvenirs. They had like the TIE fighter popcorn bucket. They had little
That's what Duffy's
BB-8
sitting in up
zipper.
there.
Huh?
That's what Duffy's flying. Darth Duffy is flying in the TIE Fighter popcorn bucket up above. Oh, well, I guess the camera's not on me. But yeah, up above me.
Yeah, so they have all of those, and again, it's really easy to get. Like, there's no lines or anything. Like, you can pretty much. I had these before. A lot of them are like rolled out to like the parks and stuff, and I still have them in the back in my little wall of stuff. Let's see. Yeah, so that was like the big
That's fantastic.
cosplay. Yeah, it was so great. It's one of my most like favorite Star Wars moments. I really want to do
Yeah.
another Star Wars cruise. Sometimes they come up on the Florida resident like discount cruises because
Hmm.
they usually take place during off hours. Like this was on February, so usually even though it's cold, it's still great to cruise around that time. Yeah. So that's
Awesome. Well, I still can't wait to do my first Disney cruise. I don't know if it's going to happen in August.
now we
Uh,
can just scrap that and go on a Star Wars
Should we just
cruise.
scrap it? Yeah? Go to Star Wars one instead? I'm for that.
I say we do. Yeah.
That'd be super fun. Because, like,
It's great.
I really miss Star Wars weekends. I mean, I get that, like, I know it's weird because, I mean, we have Star Wars all the time now. I mean, we have, I could go to Batu. We have lots of Star Wars stuff all over the place. It's inundating the parks and merchandise, but Star Wars weekends are special. Looking forward to, 4 or 5 weekends every year where we're going to have stars from the saga come and visit the parks. You're going to have special characters walking around, and that's a time when they didn't care about the chronological
Yeah,
order
like
either,
keeping
whatever
things in line.
the
Yeah.
time of the. Yeah, they did. Like you had a meet and greet with some Jedi here from the Republic era, and then over there you had some Ewoks, and over there you had Darth Vader, and over there you had Goofy Vader and Mickey and the R2MK. I miss R2MK. Like why did we have to make it so serious where we can't have Disney characters as Star Wars characters anymore? Some of my favorite collectibles are the plush and the little figures where like Stitch's Yoda and all that kind of stuff. I love that stuff.
Yes. Oh, I love all that merch. I wish I had more of it. I'm always getting
Yeah.
that like Darth Stitch pins and stuff. It's my
Oh
favorite.
yeah, I know. It's so good. And why they have to make it so serious? I don't know. But Star Wars weekends, I look forward to that every time, and then to get special merchandise and just something to look forward to. So I think the cruise could be that kind of thing where you're going on something Star Wars themed, and you have that different level of excitement, and then I get to go on the cruise too, which again I've never been on one, and I'm so looking forward to August, and so
Yeah.
yeah.
And again, like I didn't even cover like I booted up my old phone the other day. Just I might come up with a more comprehensive post if that's what people want. Let me know in the comments. But even like the menus, the difference between like maybe an event at the parks and an event on the cruise, it was an incredibly comfortable experience in that you partake in what you want, what you don't want, you don't feel like you're really missing out on, and then you can take like as many breaks or you can eat in between, and it's not as much of a logistical nightmare as with probably like a 1 day event at a park, where you like don't want to go back to your resort or hotel or whatever because you don't want to miss out on valuable party time. Here it's very like there is also droid racing. If you know the Sphero BB-8, they instead of like they had like a whole mat set out and like a bunch of kids and adults, and you would get each of us would get like a remote, and you would just see which BB-8 won the race. And
Are
it
you
took place
serious?
all afternoon. Yes. I'm gonna have to do a post. People want to see the
That's
content.
so crazy.
Um, it was
I got that
hilarious
big
because that was
Hero
like
BB-8. He's fun.
yeah, but the thing with those is like for some it was like a carpeted. So and I'm sure it happens on like hard floor too, but their heads would pop off
Yeah.
whenever
Oh
they
yeah.
collided. So it was basically just to see which BB-8 made it to the finish line in one piece.
Hmm.
So it was just hilarious. Like they'd all just fall apart every 5 seconds. So it was basically impossible to like finish the race. It was great.
Wow.
At night, the menus at all of the restaurants were themed. Some of them were like very like oh Naboo cheesecake or something, where like they just slapped on the Star Wars name. But some of them were really cool. Like they had that day, all I remember eating was Jar Jar's Jar Jar's curry or something, and it was excellent. It
Are you
was a
serious?
giant portobello.
Yeah.
It was a
So
giant
they did
portobello
like Star
mushroom
Wars food.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
No, it was
Yeah.
just a giant portobello mushroom with panko crust, like fried with panko crusted. Like it was just crunchy. And it was on like a bed of like rice with like a really good curry on it and some like
Hmm,
green onions and stuff. Excellent. And
that's good.
yeah, it was like again, I'm like this is just they just slapped on his name, but it makes sense, you know, like I don't know, like
Well,
all the food
yeah.
was good, and like the menus were like holographic and the whole deal. It was fun.
Oh, that's cool. I think the food in Batu, like Docking Bay 7, is pretty good. I think they did a good job with the food, but I will say it was either the last year or the year before, or maybe they did it the last 2 years of Star Wars weekends. They introduced this like I forget even what they called it, but it was at the. Tom's probably yelling at me if he's even listening because he remembers the names of everything. I don't remember the names of anything. Over at
That's why I want to do a podcast with you.
yeah, Backlot Express, right? At Hollywood Studios.
Right.
That's the place to the left of like Star Tours, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always get that.
You got it.
Yeah, that's Backlot Express.
Yes.
For some reason, I sometimes think Backlot Express was the place in the back, but yeah, okay. So that's back. So they turned that into right. So they turned that into a Star Wars restaurant, basically, and they themed it, and you went in and had themed food. And it had the best themed food. It had such good stuff, and it was like kind of like what you were talking about. Because in Galaxy's Edge, they're trying to do like this is Endorian Tipium, but there they did like this is Darth Vader meatballs, or this is and they themed it a little more like straightforward to characters and stuff like that. And it was like so good. Yeah, like this is Jar Jar's soup, but. Anyway, it was really, really good. And
we can find the menu so we can show them.
They had characters walking around, and that's where I first met Sabine and Ezra. They came in and they were like
Ezra
walking around. Yeah, well, that was at the Run Disney thing. That was at Run Disney. Yeah, Run Disney does a good job with those photo ops. I want to show people something, by the way. Here, side by side. Who has the better Star Wars pose? That's... Oh, why is it going in a loop? Weird. Oh, wait, it's on loop. Oops. All right. Go back. Stop. Where are you going? All right, I lost it. Why is it like playing by itself? I don't understand that. That messed up my joke. All right, hit the pause button. There we go. Okay. There you go. So...
What are we doing?
I don't know. I'm showing side by side of our Star Wars poses. We're both very awkward with a lightsaber.
I just got in it, and I'm always like at home. I'm like, I'm gonna knock something over and break something, clumsy enough as it is. So I never really have time to do like any kind of laser craft or like practice handling it or doing it. I did some of it at like my brother's Halloween thing because we were all just outside, and I was just like. But like I would probably be put to shame by anyone who's handled a lightsaber for more than like 10 minutes. Funnily enough, if any of you guys ever visit us in the studio once we can have an audience again, WDWNT studio. I don't know if you know this, Nick. There is a dance studio across the hall from us, not within the same, but like within the same shopping center where it is.
Wait, do you go there?
And they do laser craft. They do classes for just knowing how to do the lightsaber stuff. I've never attended classes. No. I just looked into it because I thought it was funny that we had a dance studio right next to the WWNT studio, but they do hold lightsaber classes. So I don't know once if that studio will still exist. If we'll be able, but if anyone, we should really do like a lightsaber.
No, not even like you and I are definitely doing that. Like we're signing up for those classes.
In the studio, we could like try to time it so that like maybe there's one on a Thursday and we can go like right before the show or something. I don't know. I haven't looked into the logistics of it, but I know it's there. And I know that's a thing they do. I think it's one of the few lasercraft um, studios in Orlando and Florida in general.
That is so cool. All right, so this was back in 2015, by the way, and this was the Rebel Hangar. Let's see, from the Rebel Hangar, I'm going to click on that. Oh, yeah, all right, I want to show this, since we're talking about it. Let's see if I could get this on. Give me a sec. So yeah, it was called the Rebel Hangar. That's right. That was good stuff.
Yes,
I had no idea
I stand corrected.
they
It's
offered that.
Sabercraft. I'm sorry, I've been calling it Lasercraft because I'm an idiot. So
Sabercraft. All right. Yeah, that makes a little more sense. So what? So they'll teach you how to like hold and like play with a lightsaber.
yeah, how to do like all the combinations and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
You didn't know about this?
No, why would I know about
competitions.
this? They hold competitions?
Yeah, where you like actually show off, like showdown with someone. On this, it's like a sport. It's like a thing.
What?
I just blew Nick's mind right now.
Okay, no, but we're definitely signing up for like one of these classes and gonna go figure this out. Can you bring your own lightsaber?
Yeah, you can, and if you don't have one, they actually provide you with one. They actually give you like just an LED stick. That's my article.
That's not what I wanted. Let's see.
I think it's so cool because if there's one way to meet people who are into Star Wars, it has to be this.
Yes.
Apparently there are classes online. Maybe we should do this as a group. I don't know. Again, I'd have to find the space in my house that is full of random knickknacks.
Oh, like, wait, they offer it online so like you can watch online and then do it from your own
like
home?
any like dance or choreography class, you just learn it online. Oh. We all know what Nick's gonna do with the rest of his day. We got a dark screen right now.
We're doing this. All right. I don't know
but wait, hold on. Everyone needs to come to Miami. Apparently, Sabercraft is in Miami. There's like a main hub in Miami. I did not know this.
On my way.
I was today years old when I learned this. Sabercraft is Miami's premier LED saber combat choreography class. Do you want me to send you the link? You seem like you need a link.
Do I want you to send me the link? I told you I was trying to get to Miami for my job, so I gotta...
I sent you a link to this Star Wars Day at Sea menu, which we can see after this, after we're done obsessing over Sabercraft, and then the last link I sent you was the Sabercraft thing.
So check this out. Inside the inside the Backlot Express, they turned it into the Rebel Hangar.
Oh, okay, so it was like... Oh, that's so cool.
So they themed it inside there. This is 2015. Now we can barely get any
props inside Backlot Express.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would even be able to do any of this. They've repurposed a lot of these spaces for additional seating. Because numbers.
Abandoned, was an abandoned space that's now been taken over by galactic travelers.
That is amazing. That's really cool. How much were these events? Like, was it kind of like an after hours? Like,
well, this was not. No, this. Was this?
There wasn't an additional cost? I would imagine.
No, I think this was just a reservation, and you go in and then you could buy stuff. If I remember correctly, it was just a place where you could go. Like during Star Wars weekends.
This wasn't like a private part. Like
this was a Star Wars weekend.
Very ignorant. So Star Wars weekend. Did you need an additional ticket, or was it just something that happened at the park throughout those days? This was before my time, so.
Yeah. It was 4 weekends, and they extended to 5 weekends. I think it might have been 6 weekends by the end. I don't remember exactly.
When was it discontinued? I feel like it wasn't too long ago.
I've been 2015. 2016
that's
maybe.
right around when I started like getting into like studying the parks and stuff.
No, there was no additional cost to go to Star Wars weekends. It was included with your Hollywood
So that's
Studios
why they
park
took
ticket.
it off.
Yeah, I know, right? So you just go into Star Wars all weekend, all day, all
That's
weekend.
incredible.
Characters walking around, photo ops everywhere throughout the park, food options and things like that. So you could see like Chips and Sith, trio of thermal
Oh.
detonators, lightsaber bites. You know, so like they're not this blatant in Batu.
Oh my god,
They're trying.
Ensenada Naboo.
Yes. The Sith
The Dark
sampler.
Friday. I'm living for these.
Yeah.
See, there's no
So this
puns
was
in
a
Galaxy's Edge because it takes itself very seriously, like you said.
yeah, and that's the problem. Like, wouldn't this be better? Like, come on. Anyway,
I get both sides of it.
the Han Solo frozen in carbonite souvenir box.
The cupcakes.
With cupcakes in
The
it.
Yoda cake, oh my god. I know they still do
Mhm.
Star Wars stuff for Disneyland Paris, I think. Or they did do it last year, and it was
Oh,
the
the X-wing
that's so
glow
cool.
cube.
That's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, I think that's sitting up right there somewhere. Or maybe up there.
I wouldn't mind some
Yeah,
glow
a ton of
cubes at
those.
Oga's Cantina, to be honest.
Right? I got so many of those X-wing glow
Like,
cubes. I
I
bought
think-
so many drinks here.
Oh my!
There's
Of course, you
there.
guys got all
They're
of them.
Yeah, they're all lined up. Look at that. Oh, look at that.
They brought out the Millennium Falcon like glow cube for a brief period of time. I think in Disney
Yeah.
Springs. It was super random though. It was like a random margarita. Oh my god!
Check it out.
Oh
Right?
my god!
Come on. Tell me that's not amazing.
That's the best thing I've ever. What is that even? Oh my god! Darth
Some
Maul
kind
could
of
never.
scoop. Is it a
So it's like a dip. Oh my god!
no, I think that's a dip. That's like, is that the?
It's like nachos. What did they use?
There's some
It was
Sith.
chips
The
and
dip was
Sith.
flavorful. Yeah.
I wonder how they did it.
This
This
is-
is like chia seeds almost, but this was like pre-chia seed generation.
This is also
Yes,
pre
bugles, or bugles
when
for horns.
WDWNT was a little better in their writing of description stuff. The
Oh,
dip
this
was
was before
flavorful
we
and
were on the
presentation was
naughty
really
list.
cool.
Oh yes, this is why Tom sometimes like, oh, like just reuse the descriptions. It's the same food. I'm like, you don't understand. This is not described properly. It
Yeah.
was good. Oh, that's so cool. Is that like a giant rice chip? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, something like that. It's some kind of flatbread or chip, yeah.
What's that
Like a
Millennium
thin-
Falcon thing in the back? Was that another
don't-
popcorn bucket of sorts?
I don't remember. I don't think they had a Millennium Falcon popcorn bucket back then.
Maybe that was just a
I think
figure or something.
that
I don't know.
might have been just a table decoration. I don't remember,
Oh,
to be
okay.
honest with you. Yeah.
That's great.
Let's see what was on
Something to
there.
add to the
Yeah.
roast. Somewhere in Tom's closet are all of these food wrappers.
Oh, totally. Yeah, the food wrappers are amazing. I still have some of those. It's hard to save the food wrappers because let's see, thermal
So the thermal detonators are
detonators.
just like wings. That's pretty brilliant.
They're just meatballs.
Oh my god, the cake! Of course.
Yeah, look at him. Key
I
lime
can't.
cake. That was so good. And then the Han Solo
these are all
pop guard.
Undoubtedly
Okay.
creative, you know. Oh, okay. So they did reuse a lot. I think all of the old Star Wars Weekends material went to the cruises when they launched. So I think the first Star Wars Day at Sea started in 2017. I think I want to say that was
okay.
when we went. These are the same wrappers. These are the same cupcake wrappers that you'll see on the ship for all of the cupcakes. I know, because I tried to salvage
Sweaty
many of
face.
them.
Look at that. Yeah, with that.
Sweaty cupcakes. That's what we're really here for. Is
I think that was Jabba. Yeah.
Oh my god.
There you go. That was good stuff.
That's incredible.
Yes, it was.
That's amazing. I love that we went. I love these really like weird 2015 posts that we have all over the website because those are the ones with these weird content of like Darth Maul made out of bugles. It's a better time. What's next?
Did you want to show that food menu real quick, and then we
Let's show it just so that I can get
wrap
people
things
some.
up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you send me a link?
It should be, yeah. It's the first link I sent you on Slack. It's the one with
the choreographer. Look at that. Yeah.
Oh, that
all right.
too,
No.
yeah.
So we'll do. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. That'll be a private discussion. We just got to get that going, and then we could get some good videos out of that. That would be fantastic. Oh my goodness, I'd have such a blast with that. I mean, I know this is well, I mean,
talk about a team building experience.
It'd be fantastic. I mean, do you remember Lightsaber Kid on the video?
No. Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I'm talking about?
I guess that was from that. That was like, yeah, there's like a bunch of videos of people like in like an arena, and it's like a sports event, and they're dueling with lightsabers.
Well, I mean, there's the Lightsaber Kid
from this.
That was made fun of because he had this video posted. Do you know what I'm talking about? I know this was like early internet.
Yeah, the kid spazzing around with the lightsaber.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so this looks like
this is just the press release back when they first started doing menus. So that's a look at the menu. I think there was different ones. Like some of them lit up, some had like little like lenticular stuff. Let's see, like
no, they let you keep some of the menus.
Queen Brea Organa cake, Senator Bail Organa flan.
See, they use cool names with that, yeah. So they didn't care.
And some of them made sense. Like for example, something from like Indoor had like little chocolate moss on it. What are these? Bantha steak empanadas. So was that? I think that's what
Bantha steak empanadas. Yeah.
So the shroom steak was what I had. See, like the big like fried portobello bed of rice and really good curry. And I'm like a curry snob. Excellent. But I could have sworn it was Jar Jar related on my menu. But yeah.
Well, what year did you go?
All excellent food. I think this was 2018. So this is probably like this, and this was at the very start. So maybe they.
Oh, look at the Leia!
Right before the Leia
pudding with the buns.
But I had the carbonite sundae. It was excellent.
Oh, that looks great.
Yeah, and then that's when they had just started doing like the printing on the cappuccinos, and that was one of the first things that you could order. That was what I was having for breakfast that day, and I was
I'd have it
heckled
every day.
Yeah. But yeah. Actually, now they've revved up the cappuccino printing system on the ship, and you can get like Baby Yoda on your cappuccino because they have like that printer now.
Oh, yeah.
Am I as laggy as I
look
on Phoenix?
I don't know. I know my audio's lagging. That's why I keep interrupting you accidentally. So I'll wait for you to start, then I'll talk, then you'll start again. And...
Yeah, sorry.
No. That's fantastic. So anyway, I think we could probably wrap things up for today. Any final thoughts? I got some Animal Crossing to go play.
Oh, nice.
And I'm playing, by the way, very Star Wars related. Do you play any Star Wars video games?
No, my brother does have a Twitch, and I log on every now and then. He does like the Battlefront stuff, so I'm aware of those, but I don't actually play.
I'm playing one now that it's a re-release that I missed back when it came out. I think 2003-ish, but it's called Jedi Academy Outcast, and it's on the. It's definitely on the Switch. I don't know whatever else it might be on.
No, I don't have any platforms. I don't.
You don't? Okay.
No, for some reason I thought you to buy a Switch.
I thought you had a Nintendo for some reason.
No, I showed you my Game Boy. That's the only thing.
The Game Boy?
No,
Okay. Because I thought we talked about games
the
once.
urge to buy a Switch. Everyone I know plays Animal Crossing, so I know of it, and I know all the little like memes and jokes and stuff. But I myself, I was good. I bought myself a Kindle and not a Switch because it was like half the price, and I felt like it was
I
an
think
adult
you'd
thing
love
to buy.
I think you'd like Animal Crossing. But so Jedi Academy, it's so fun. Like you get to go on missions to like it's set post Return of the Jedi, so it actually has Jedi Luke in it. And he comes
cool.
in and helps. Like he came to the academy and is helping brief you on missions. And now you're like, I got through the first phase of missions, so now Luke's like, oh, you got to go out there and do this, this, and this. It's like you go to Hoth and you go to Coruscant, and you go to Corellia and stuff, and you go on these missions. It's really, really good. But I'm super excited. Okay, look, people are like, yeah, we love the prequels. That's not prequel era. Well, guess what's coming to Switch?
Oh, I know.
Star Wars Racers.
Racer.
I would, if I were you, I'd get a Switch just for that, because that pod racing game.
Vivid memories.
Oh, have you played it?
Played that so much. Yeah, okay. When it came out,
I've dumped so many hours into that. Yeah. Okay. I got to get the re-release because I don't have any platform to play it on right now. But I haven't played that in years. I'm so excited.
I think there's gonna be some I think if I recall from the press release, there's some fun extra bonuses on it.
Yeah.
And they present it in the same format, but it's remastered or whatever. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I think we'll wrap it up now.
Yay!
We started late, but we went well over 2 hours here. Actually, we did. But it's been fun. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We really do appreciate it. I know I don't know much about the complete schedule. Actually, I think I got it here somewhere. But I know Pressing Issues is coming up
is
tonight.
On tonight at 8, 9? I forget. We keep changing the times on these.
This is an old calendar, but we do have Pressing Issues tonight at 8. Well, I don't have an updated one. I don't know who updates it or where it goes. So, so you see some old stuff on here. We had a great time with Cooking with Nick on Friday. I hope we get to do some more of those. So, that mushroom bisque that I made was just
I need
killer.
To make that. It looks incredible. Yeah.
You really should, with the froth and everything. It makes it look like cappuccino. Then it all melts in together, and it's just so creamy good. Well, it doesn't stay as frothy. It quickly melts into the bisque and just makes the bisque thick and yummy.
I love creative items like that, though. That it's like a soup, but it's a coffee. Yeah.
Tomorrow at 11 a.m., learn how to make sock puppets with Colleen. Fantastic.
Only the best content.
Yeah. And then Colleen's Craft Corner. Yeah. And then tomorrow night at 9 p.m., Cosmic Read. So that's what we have coming up on WDWNT Live. And then looking a little bit ahead, I know I'll be back with Tom on May the 4th. We're going to rank all the Star Wars films. Boring.
So people in the comments, thank you everyone for saying that they like the show, that they love having more Star Wars content as it is, and I'll be the first to admit it. On YouTube, it's pretty oversaturated. Everyone's an armchair Lucasfilm presenter on YouTube. It is an oversaturated market a bit, but and like that's not to say that there aren't Star Wars fans in WWNT. Tom has a whole wall of his apartment just dedicated to Star Wars and Star Wars. And then we're big fans too, but again, we just don't want to bore you with redundant content. But I'd love to see that you guys like the show and would like to see more.
And whenever I do a show like this, look, there's plenty of places out there where you're gonna find experts, people that remember everything, can tell you all the characters' names and all the plot names and all. So I can't do that, and I don't think Jessica's like that either. And look, that's not, I'm not trying to be,
I'd be
you know,
able to do it if I like set up a study hour and came up with like an
oh,
outline,
totally.
and it would like.
Totally. But I mean, no, I just want to come on here and like we're talking like friends and just have a discussion about Star Wars in a semi-structured way. You know, we had some things planned and we have some cool things planned for May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th. I think you saw that we moved Revenge of the 5th to 9 p.m. So that you can be on with me again. So we're going to have another show on Revenge of the 5th. And then May the 4th, I don't think you're going to be on that one, I guess, because that's at 11 a.m.
No.
But,
See, typically I'm running the site and I can't do any morning shifts for the most part. If you see me in the chat, it's because it's kind of slow and I can be in the chat. But I got someone to cover for me today. Thankfully, I was able to be on in the morning show. But May the 4th is a Monday, followed by Revenge of the 5th, which is on a Tuesday. So Tuesday night, Revenge of the 5th, I'll be on with Nick and more people. And then
May the 4th,
May the 4th?
May the 4th, we're gonna rank the Star Wars films, which I don't like that for a number of reasons, but I'll get to argue with Tom, so that'll be fun. Because I know he's gonna rank Rogue One way down there.
Right? This is a Rogue One stan account right now. Rogue One is my favorite. Like, when they mentioned Saw Gerrera in episode 9 of Clone Wars, I was like, yes, that's...
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. And then I think Revenge of the 5th, I have an idea that we're still fleshing out. I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different and go over the top hero moments and top villain moments of the saga. So I think that would be kind of fun and spark some discussion. So we're still fleshing out some ideas for that show. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nick, for co-hosting this after running multiple miles. Running a half marathon. Casually.
Seriously. That was fun though. I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I stuck with it and actually did it. Like, why not?
Next up, Sabercraft.
Yay! So excited. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, guys. May the shorts be with you.
Ha!